Oh, recording on a Sunday. Wonders never cease. Alrighty, hello folks. We are here with the Outcast Crusader. Go check out his channel. I'll put it in the description down below. Say hello, dude.
Hello, everyone.
And we are here with Board as well, who is a vaunted member of our Discord. Somebody who was a fan, has become a friend, and is now trying to save my life most weeks in Cyberpunk whenever we get to play it again. How's it going, man?
How's it? Well, good and you. How's it, everyone?
Awesome. So today we are doing a tier list, which I've not done on the channel for years. A few good bits of tier list building. We're going to be rating all of the legions, all of them, and the Primarchs too. So this is a Legion and Primarch video. So when we do Fulgrim, we'll be doing Emperor's Children as well. This is mostly vibes, mostly just having fun. So if you don't agree with what we say, that's fine. Put what you think in the description down below, or the comment box down below. If more than one Legion is on the same tier, we will have them face off to decide who is the top of that tier, with the person, the Legion and Primarch closest to the tier number or letter being the one who is at the head of that tier. So if we have 3 Legions in tier A, the Legion that is closest to the letter A up there will be the best of that tier. Are we all clear on the rules?
Okay.
Roger, roger.
Alrighty. I think we should go in, because we did just have Board talking about the Dark Angels. I think we should go in order of Legion number, which would be the Dark Angels. So for me, Lionel Johnson, this is going to be a litmus test of where all the other Primarchs are going to go, because he's described as being one of the stronger combat Primarchs and also stronger generals, but he does make serious mistakes during the Horus Heresy. Again, a lot of this will be to do with how terrible the writing is, dealing with him, which is not his fault, but it's still canon, still happened. So, the Dark Angels, as we all know, an extremely arrogant legion. They were the first ones, the first legion, first ever Space Marines, and they were the best at everything until they sort of stagnated before the Lion got there and became kind of arrogant in their own power and stuff. We know what they're like in the 41st millennium, completely zealous, completely obsessed with hunting the Fallen. Issue therein, in my opinion, is now the Lion's come back, he's kind of undermined all of that really cool lore they've got, and I said, no, we're just loyal, and we're just, being good, and that's what we are, sort of a thing. What do you guys think of Lionel Johnson and the Dark Angels Board? I know this is one of your favorite legions at the moment.
Yeah, so I've loved the Dark Angels. Definitely, the first Horus Heresy book I ever read was Descent of the Angels, which is a great book by itself, but a terrible Horus Heresy book if you're reading the Horus Heresy books in order, because everything's to do with the Horus Heresy, and the book Descent of the Angels has nothing to do with the Horus Heresy. Nothing at all. It touches a little bit on the Great Crusade, but it is actually a great book on finding out who the Dark Angels actually are and their history and everything. Very, very good. But like I said, if you just have never read a Space Marine book ever, that's a great book to read. I love the Dark Angels. I have a bias. Lionel Johnson is an absolute boss. He is an awesome general. He is a great combat Primarch. Sorted out the Rangdan. They're the first Legion, so they have that arrogance, but they have a reason for that arrogance. They get all the Dark Age technology there. It is hard for me not to put them in S tier, but I could be talked down to A tier. Yes, the Lion does make some mistakes in the Horus Heresy. However, if you have read the Scouring book Ashes of Imperium, a lot of that stuff sort of gets explained away.
Yeah, it does.
Because one of the criticisms was, well, he had basically planned a planetary invasion of Macragge against the Ultramarines and had them all ready to drop pod assault the entire planet. However, in Ashes of Imperium, Gilliman shows us, well, turns out the Lion was right to be suspicious of Gilliman.
Yeah, I think when we get to the 13th, we are going to be talking about Gilliman a lot, and you know, how he's now being perceived by the fan base in Ashes of the Imperium, because he is a bit of a rat. I really liked him in Dark Imperium, but back then, dude, like, this is not a nice person to be around. Right, Charlie, what do you reckon about the Dark Angels so far?
Well, for me in Dark Angels, like I'm not as knowledgeable on them as most other chapters, but my first introduction to them was from the old Deathwing novel, like Old Hammer story with like what was his name? Two Heads Talking. So like I like the chapter itself. They've got some good things to it. But Lionel, I've always been iffy on him because he talks a big game, but then he's easily duped because didn't Peter Rabo dupe him with fucking some like
yeah,
death
pure
engines?
autism. Yeah, he just
You know what I mean?
You know,
Like,
I'm your friend. Can I have those siege engines? Sure, why not? Like,
so he's
okay.
suspicious. He's suspicious of Gilliman and all these other things, but he's not suspicious of like one of the biggest chodes in fucking Warhammer 40k.
Yeah.
Objection.
And I like Peter Rabo. I like Peter Rabo as like in some instances, but he is a fucking
Dude, like if
chode.
Perturabo turned up and was smiling at you, going, "Hey, friend," instantly you'd be
Sus.
like, "What do you want? What's
Yeah,
going
sus.
on?" That's
Instantly
sus.
sus.
Yeah. One of the coolest Primarchs. I love Perturabo, but also like you would give you the willies. You'd be like, "Nah, this ain't right, man. Why are you being so friendly?" Yeah, I kind of agree with what you guys are saying about. I know I want to put them in S tier, and we can revise this later on, but I don't think they can go in S tier. It's not for Lionel Johnson's, not a lack of cool. It's just how he's been written. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think, but I do think top of A tier is where I want to put him for now. Are we happy with that? I think top of A tier.
I'm between A and B tier for Dark Angels.
Okay.
But I am
do
also
have to make one
remembering.
objection.
Okay.
Now, I know the Lion gets a lot of criticism for giving Perturabo, obviously, the siege weapons.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to defend him here a bit. Firstly, no one knew that Perturabo was a traitor. Everyone was fooled by the drop site massacre.
True.
Number one. Number two, the thing is, he obviously wants to become a War Master. He has ambition. But it sort of makes sense. He's like, well, the last War Master turned out to be a traitor. It's probably better that I handle things because I know I'm not a traitor. And I can't really trust anyone else. And it sort of makes sense why then he's so suspicious of Gilliman. Because he was like, well, it turns out I was wrong about Perturabo. Who else is a flippin' traitor? And it sort of works very nicely into the character of why he's become more and more so secretive.
I
do
how it's melted into the modern chapter too. I think the modern chapters also that forest green is just iconic, and the forest of Caliban. The one thing I really like about the Dark Angels lore, and it's so good, I've attempted to write several settings about it that I never really get off the ground. It's so weird a concept, but it is the medieval fantasy world that is actually a fallen sci-fi civilization. You know, so you got knights running around with bolters and stuff. It's just cool. And I think one of the largest missteps in 40k lore was getting rid of Caliban and having the Dark Angels just do Horus Heresy 2.0 on their own home world. It's kind of lame. It's like they ran out of ideas of how to write and what to do. So they said, oh, we'll just have Luther, like, just be another Horus. It's like, dude, come on. And then it's like, yeah, this normal Marine who's empowered by chaos can take down a Primarch. No, he can't. No, he can't.
I will defend him on the rock thing though, because that is being I'm pretty sure that's been a staple since the Angels of Death Codex for second edition. So they've got a fixed point, like a fixed time point that can't change. So how do we actually make this fixed time point happen?
That's true.
So like I get the sentiment, but I understand why they had to write that the fucking rock happened.
Well, Charlie's saying top of B tier. Board saying I'd say bottom of S tier. Are you thinking about around there?
I'll say I'm happy with bottom of S tier, but I'll be fine with top of A tier.
Yeah, I
if
think
you're putting him a B tier, we're gonna have issues. I'm gonna have a riot on our hands.
No. I think we go. What we'll do is, if we've got like two disparate opinions, we'll go in the middle ground, which is normally what I'm going to be. So yeah, it is A tier for Lionel Johnson. So far.
my opinion would probably be higher if I knew a little bit more about like Azrael and fucking the rest of their leadership.
It's cool, but it's also like they are one of the they don't get a lot of books. You know, there's some about them, but there's not.
Unfortunately.
Which is weird because they used, like I said, one of my first Warhammer 40k novels was a book called, it was like a compilation book, which had the Dark Angels story. Which is weird because this is the story they tell all their new recruits about how the Deathwing was formed until they become a veteran and like get the veteran insignia. Then they get told the real reason the Deathwing was formed.
Yeah,
when they join the inner circle.
Yeah, when you climb the ranks of the chapter, you get more revealed to you as it goes on.
Like that was a fun meta story when I eventually found out that actually isn't the real story.
Yeah.
So they got some. Like I do like them. It's just not my personal preference.
I like them as well.
Also, I know that I'm blowing smoke up their asses a bit, but just because we might not come back to them, we have to remind ourselves Lionel Johnson did beat Comrade Curse, which is probably one of the best.
Yeah, one of the best combat
Primarchs.
Yeah, by a long way.
And yeah, their new lore, there's not much, because I think after the Mark Brooks book, Games Workshop was so terrified to do anything, they sort of want us to forget that book.
Yeah. And
they're probably going to bring some new lore when Lion and Gilliman meet. But there are a lot of other characters. Belial's interesting. Azrael's really cool. As well as Lazarus is quite interesting as well.
Yeah,
he's a bit less... Yeah, he's a bit less Dark Angel-y. But it's a nice contrast of Lazarus saying, hey, we shouldn't be so obsessed with the Fallen all the time. And Azrael saying, no, there's reason why we're so obsessed with the Fallen. And you get this nice pull back and... But yeah,
they're probably
I don't want to spend too long on the Dark Angels.
True, but I just wanted to say they're probably setting that up for when the Lion and Gilliman meet, and then the Lion meets his own chapter, and the Lion starts going, all right, we actually do need to calm down. I've got some of the bros with me now. I've forgiven them.
Well, the Lion has actually already met his
It's actually happened,
chapter,
so, unfortunately.
It's already happened. So he's on the rock now, and he's sorted basically everything. I will also say one other thing that it poked my brain. One thing I thought was really cool about the Dark Angels is because they're so secretive and they have the sort of inner circle, that basically links all the Dark Angels chapters together. So the Dark Angels, they basically still have their full legion. Because
the Unforgiven.
The Unforgiven. So because the leader of the Unforgiven is the head of the inner circle, which is Azrael.
Yeah.
So technically the Dark Angel Legion is still around.
It's kind of like the Imperial Fists in that way.
Yeah.
Because they've got the last wall protocol, haven't they? So they can get together. Very similar.
Which is why when Gilliman broke up the chapters, the Dark Angels were like, yeah, okay. We'll just have our own secret thing.
Yeah.
And we'll still have our Legion. But yeah, Dark Angels are epic, and I hope someone will take over the writing and give them a bit more.
Me too. They need something. The amount of no books because the books on Caliban are really good fantasy stories, but they're not Horus Heresy stories or Space Marine stories, as you've said. And then we get to the 41st millennium, and what do we have? Lion, Son of the Forest, and what? It's basically him running a hippie commune. It's like, no, I don't want to read about this. Sorry, no, it's just crazy what they decided to do with him.
We had that, and I forget Lazarus' sword. It's named after his sword, Edge of Enmity, I think it's called. That book came out as well, which I did read, which was all right. But it has mind control stuff, and I always think if you're writing about mind control, it's just lazy writing.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of them things when you're writing a setting, and the minute or even a Space Marine chapter or whatever it is you're doing, if you're doing compromises to fit something in, it shouldn't be there, right? So say like if I'm writing a Space Marine chapter, I'm like writing Lore of the Exiled Blades, and I'm saying, okay, I want all the Exiled Blades to be psychic blanks. That's really, really, really powerful in the lore, but it's because of this thing. That shouldn't be there, because I'm trying to find a way to wiggle it in there, and I'm trying to everything to just slot together nice and easy, bang, 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 all the way through. That's why I always suggest if somebody's writing a Space Marine chapter that they write an Ultima Founding chapter first, nice and easy. You know, you created. When Gilliman came back, you're probably one of the unnumbered sons, and here we go, and you can do what you want. Rather than a second founding chapter, which you've got like 10,000 years of fucking history to go through, which is crazy. So A tier for him. So Fulgrim is up next. So Fulgrim, low key, has probably the best Horus Heresy book, and in Fulgrim, because it's the one where we actually see the drop site massacre on the ground, and it's not abbreviated in any way. This is like the full-on lead up to drop site massacre, and it actually happening in Fulgrim. Really good character arc in there too. A bit odd with the dildo sword. Not, pretty sure we could do without that, to be honest with you. But this is a very open and shut case because the Emperor's children are just the fucking worst. Not in a they're lame sort of way, but I mean like. They are
the worst people.
Yeah, they're villains that you love to boo. Boo this man, literally like that kind of thing. Like we don't like the Emperor's children in this house, for good reasons. It's not as if I don't want you here, you annoy me. It's not John Grammaticus hate, right? It's more like
It's a love to hate.
I love to hate.
You love to have them around to hate them.
Exactly. I mean, and Emperor's children players do tend to be a bit odd. Do you know what? Every single one I've come across has been like harmless but eccentric and odd, right? And they're all sitting there listening, just going, yeah, that's me, that kind of a thing. Or like weirdly non-binary trans. Like, I've come across that a lot when I was working. It was like every Emperor's Children or Slash player would have some sort of quirk, you know what I mean, about their sexuality or about their identity or whatever. That's pretty cool. So at least they've got somewhere to be. It's like a faction that they think represents them. I did say this to a friend of mine who was of this persuasion. I was like, okay, can I just say, you identify most of the Emperor's children? Yes, I do. I'm like, okay, do you not see how that might be a problem? Like it's kind of an issue, dude. And he's like, no, free heresy Emperor's children. I'm like, right, with you, got you. It's kind of like you do a double take when somebody goes, I really identify with the Tyranids. It's like, what? You mean like a hive mind? Okay, cool. I mean, I guess we can go there. So I like the Emperor's children for that fact that they give someone. I like when people can see themselves in Space Marine legions and factions, and they can really get into it and go, these are my dudes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like that. I like Fulgrim's warrior aesthetic. I don't like how the writers keep like jerking him off. Because he probably enjoys it, but I mean like giving him, he kills. Spoilers for a 40-odd-year-old setting, but he kills Ferrus Manus, and he's the only one that like a legitimate Primarch kill. Because even Dawn doesn't really get Alfarius. Like he gets one of them, sure, but we don't know which one it was or if it was even one of them. There's always like a back and forth. Yes, Horus kills Sanguinius, but he is also dead. He's gone. So he lost in the end. So Fulgrim's the only one who gets a Primarch kill, and it sticks. And same with Gilliman. He actually gets rid of Gilliman for nearly 10,000 years. So he gets these wins that are way disproportional to who he is and what he is. And he gets, shall we say, his Legion also gets wins. They are jerked off. I know it's called the Fulgrim novel, but they are jerked off big time in that novel. Iron Hands get an absolute kick in the dick throughout the entire thing. Like they're nothing. Like they're just not a threat at all. Kind of similar to how the Thousand Suns are in The Burning of Prospero, but we'll get to that later. I see you, Lehman Russ. I fucking see you there, and I will get to you a bit later on. So what do we think about Fulgrim? I guess we'll do this every time. I'll do a preamble to lead you into your takes. What do we think about Fulgrim? Who wants to step in on that one first?
I'll let you go first, bud.
Yeah, so Fulgrim, very interesting character, but the issue is Games Workshop, or at least the writers, weren't sure which way they were going with him. Because we had the tragic fall, he regrets everything, which I think is a great moment. his relationship with Ferrus Manus. My one criticism of Fulgrim the book is they didn't have the forging of their weapons. That scene, the sort of competition, which I think is such a great story of, for those that don't know, they have a competition to see who could forge the best weapon. They both forge these amazing weapons and actually proclaim each other the victor and end up swapping weapons, which I think is such an amazing scene. And particularly big for Fulgrim to do, because he's such an arrogant guy. So it would have been amazing to see that. But they have this sort of thing where he's regrets killing Ferrus Manus, is taken over by this demon prince of Slaanesh. And then in a later book, I can't remember which book it is, I think it's the book of Primarch in Horus Heresy, and it turns out, no, he's dealt with the demon, and it's actually Fulgrim. He's evil and he loves it, and he regrets nothing.
This is the biggest faux pas of his lore to me. It's like the end of Fulgrim was so tragic and dark and cool and grimdark. I was like, okay, this is my kind of, he's trapped in a painting, forever, and he's got to watch his legion deteriorate while somebody else puppets his body and twists it into this like demonic form. That's a good ending, right? That gives you, it gives you everything that you want as a Games Workshop fan. You get a really good ending. It's really tragic and dark, but also it leaves the door open for what are you going to do with this Fulgrim guy who's in the painting? Do you want to create an army where he comes back? You can do. Right? You can go and get your... What do you think the Sons of the Phoenix are in the current setting? Do you know what I mean? All of those building blocks were set in place for you to just have that, but they just couldn't let it lie. They had to go back and just make it nonsensical. Now he's just been evil forever? Like, no, because the Fulgrim in the actual book was regretful, was like, tormented by his own choices, and wanted to die. Like, the Fulgrim that comes back into his own body when he gets rid of the demon that's taken over his body is like just vile. It's like, well, where was this guy all along?
I always looked at that as more of like mask off moment, because Fulgrim's whole personality is love me, baby, please love me.
Yeah.
So being good and being seen as this like majestic, noble figure got him that attention. But then when he realized from seeing inside the painting that, oh, my boys will still love me even if I am this batshit insane. So he starts twisting that way. Because I agree with Board, the book Fulgrim was good because the Merid Vigil, I literally stopped that halfway through, put it back to the beginning of the audiobook and was like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Because that entire concept is absolutely mental. So like, for story and like purpose in the setting, they are like A tier for me. And they give us at least one of the goats for the setting, which is Rylanor the Ancient, Chad of Chads who never fucking betrayed and literally stays in place, seething with rage until the moment he sees Fulgrim again. He's just like, I'ma kill you, and he just rushes him.
Salt Harvitz,
you know what I mean?
Salt Harvitz
as well. But they also, it also gave us one of the more twisted baddies of the setting in Lucius.
Yeah, I mean, he can be a strength or a negative though, because like I know a lot of people who just Lucius is a character who can be seen as lame as fuck because his whole shtick is I'm the best swordsman in the galaxy, but my gimmick is whenever you beat me, I just come back again. What do you mean? So what you're saying is you're redundant. Like your only power is when you beat me, you don't. Great, yeah, cool. That just all the stakes are gone. Nobody cares. Lame character writing, lame character power. It's just not for me at all. That
again is, I think, the problem with them trying to fit in the old lore with the new stuff that we're writing for Horus Heresy, because I liked his character arc throughout the Fulgrim book and like the other books to do with his chapter. Like the way, like he got betrayed by his chapter. He got sent to the fucking Istvan Free Massacre because they just didn't want to deal with him. But then he betrays everyone on the planet to get back in the good books. So he's just like this twisted character that you don't actually know what his game is. So as a kind of like spanner in the works, I like him for that kind of like shit, basically.
Okay.
But totality, like I like the Fair Legion because they're good for the story. It's just personally, I'm like, I don't like them at all. So it'd be like B tier for fucking story, but like D tier for me for like what I enjoy in the setting.
What do you reckon, Board? I'm leaning towards a top of B tier, but what do you reckon?
I was going to also say, I'm looking at my notes here. I was also going to say B tier because I think they are. Everyone hates them, but we hate them for the right reasons.
Yep. Because you need bad
And
guys in the setting, like legitimate, like objective bad guys.
Yeah. And Fulgrim is an interesting character. He has fumbles, but once again, it's just GW not knowing what they want to do, or writers mixing around with each other and not sure where they're going. We haven't seen much of him in the 40 because he's only just come back. And I suppose this is the one good thing about Primarchs coming back is we get more information on where they are and what they're doing, rather than I'm just going to sit on my demon planet here and, you know, jerk off.
Cope and sieve, basically.
But yeah, with the Emperor's Children, also Sol Tarvitz, Rylanor, all great. You've said, North, that a rite of passage in Warhammer is making your own chapter. And because of Sol Tarvitz, I really am leaning towards making a loyalist Emperor's Children chapter.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because
Sons of the Phoenix,
yeah,
man.
I do think,
Badass.
I do think, the pre-heresy Emperor's Children searching for perfection, unattainable perfection, is a very interesting idea. And yeah, also just on Lucius, he falls into the problem with any character. It's not even just him, it's any character. We'll probably touch this when we get to Vulcan. Any character that has this gimmick of I don't die, well, it just means you get beaten all the time.
Yeah, you're a punching bag now.
And then you're not that scary.
What was it called in filming stuff, like the Worf effect? Because Worf in Star Trek is the big strong character. All the big strong aliens attack him and beat the shit out of him. So he makes him look like a weakling.
So, a B tier for Fulgrim.
B-tier.
We got him in there. All right. So, Perturabo is up next. Fourth Legion. So here we go.
My favorite traitor.
Dude, like, this fucking guy. Just the greatest. I've spoken ad nauseum about how much I really like Perturabo. He is a very human Primarch, probably one of the most human Primarchs. Very flawed individual, has a lot of things going on with him that he's not very happy about. His Legion as well, this constant grinding warfare Legion that are always up against it, always going to the worst war zones, always fighting their way through it, but also they're self-hating. They don't want any praise, even though they secretly do. You know, they're very insecure that way. And that's one of the things that I really love about them. And Perturabo is the exemplar, and he grows. That's the thing. He's a petulant man-child for a lot of the Horus Heresy. He beats Dawn. I don't get why Imperial Fist players seem to think that he doesn't. He breaks every wall at Terra and then exposes the Emperor and goes, there you go, Horus, and then leaves. That's a win. He decided not to kill your Primarch. You know what I mean? And then he decided, you know what? Why would I kill you? I'm going to do the Iron Cage later on. I'm going to humiliate you anyway. You know, that kind of a thing. So, the Iron Warriors, very flawed, very cool, very organized. And the one thing that the Legions are missing, and that's Dogs of War. These guys are in the trenches. There aren't very many Legions that are like that in the setting. Imperial Fist maybe, but they're mainly defensive. These guys take walls. You know, they bring down massive armaments and things. It's a tragedy because Perturabo wants to build things. He loves building things. Whenever he gets an excuse to build something for his brothers, he does it. whether it be a theater, whether it be like a theater the size of a planet, or whatever, for Fulgrim when he and he doesn't even like Fulgrim, but he just builds it because he's like bored. He's like, well, I guess I'll build Fulgrim this massive theater that covers the entire world. That's what we'll do. So what do you guys think of Perturabo? And am I wrong? Have I gone a bit too far? What do you guys reckon?
He's my favorite traitor. I absolutely love him. He's like you said, he is a perpetual man-child.
Yeah.
Which you see that through the book that goes through his upbringing.
Yeah.
Because he even back then he's like, my dad makes me fucking build all these war machines. I just want to make cool things. I want to make cities. And doesn't he, like you said, he made because that's with Fulgrim, because Fulgrim asks him to make the big what was it, amphitheater, because they're doing like a speech to both legions.
Yeah.
Doesn't he also make the psychic trial place?
He does, yeah.
The big, he's down just to go, I want to build, and just does the Minecraft thing and just builds these massive, elegant structures. But then he's always dragged down to just doing, like you said, the gritty, dirty work of sieges and stuff, and doesn't really get as much as he's like, I don't want compliments. In his own monologue, he's like, why do I always get the shit job? Why can't I get given good jobs like my brothers?
Why aren't I appreciated? Why do people tell me what a good job I'm doing? It's like, yeah, okay, well, you said you didn't want that.
He's mainly my favorite Primarch, because when you're reading the story about Fulgrim becoming, the demon Primarch, he come after fucking up something for him. He comes in to talk to Perturabo, and Perturabo's working on this intricate, finely worked clock work mechanical device. And he gets Fulgrim to come close. He's like, come closer, look at this. As soon as Fulgrim's eyes are close enough, he grabs him by the head, slams his head on the table, breaks his nose, pummels his face in, and he just starts kicking off at him. It's like someone actually fucking domes Fulgrim because he's being a little wuss, basically.
He is also the only Primarch who canonically plays war games, which I like.
True.
He's a Warhammer player, but also Games Workshop do this meta commentary on their own fans, which happens a lot, where they're just look at the Red Scorpions. I've said it before. They're a Forge World only faction, and what are they about? Well, they're obsessed with purity. They're extremely arrogant. They've got all of the best, new war gear, and they lord it over all the chapters that don't have the best new war gear. They're extremely wealthy, from very rich families, very very rich planets and things where they're drawn from, and they've got the eyes of the High Lords of Terror, right? They're pretty nice, well liked by the powers that be, and the ecclesiarchy and all that kind of stuff. That's basically Forge World players, right? Look at the Iron Warriors. This is wargamers in general. Well, what are their characteristics? They're weaponized autism. That's what they are. They're literally, they are salty, bitter boys. they play with their toy soldiers, and they want more from life. They want more recognition from everybody. They're nerds. They're nerds. If nerds were given power armor and told, hey, I know you're an engineering nerd, but now we need to raise these massive battlements and take down all these other people. What do you think, Board, so far of the Iron Warriors? I'm leaning towards S tier, but what do we reckon?
Before Board jumps in, I just wanted to make the only downside to Perty, but also makes the chapter better the Legion better, is Dantioch, because we can't forget Dantioch.
Yeah, Barbus Dantioch.
You know what I mean? It was wrong what Perturabo did to him, because what are you gonna do when you have enemies that have time stop powers?
Mm-hmm.
How you're not dealing with that in any effective way. But hey, it did give us a really good book as well, because his entire book about how he fucks over a siege for a year just to prove that his buildings were better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I got
so
you.
Yeah, no, they're A tier for me.
What do you reckon, Board?
Yeah, so Perturabo, very interesting character, very much from what I can tell, an underdog that gets progression, and I love progression, and slowly works his way up to the point where Horus actually, I believe, gives him you're the best of the brothers. at the Siege of Terra, breaks the walls of the Siege of Terra, which no one has ever done before, captures Demon Primarch Angron,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's so
beats
funny. Yeah.
beats Fulgrim, because Fulgrim tries to betray him to sacrifice his soul. I haven't read the book, but this is from what I know.
That ends up being through willpower alone as well.
Yeah, Angel Exterminatus is a good book. A very good book.
Very interesting Legion. Very cold, very calculating. Sometimes a bit too salty for me. But I also, I don't know why, it's just a personal taste thing. I think the hazard stripes are really irritating. The yellow stripes across. We're going to put stripes on us to show we're dangerous. But I definitely think he should be probably an A. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next with the story now that he's ascended from the Eye of Terror and coming down on the Imperium.
This is it,
Hopefully.
right? Yeah. I was thinking about A tier until I saw two things. Number one, saw what he looked like as a Demon Primarch. Amazing. And two, how much of a chill dude he is now that he's a Demon Primarch. Just it's so funny. Like, it's so funny. You know, that you would think he gets worse, but he's just not. He's just this chill dude, and he literally just, you know, he will do war games with his subordinates and let them win just to teach them lessons. That's not the Perturabo I know. Like, he's just, and he's described as a good leader now. Like, he's a dude who literally leads from the front and teaches his warriors, and basically wants to have a place in the galaxy where they're going to get to work on their skills forever, sort of thing. And I really like that. I think that's really, really, really cool. I'm thinking about pushing him into S tier, just on what he is now, because normally 40k is a bit of a crux, is a bit of a millstone around the neck of these cool factions because they become memeified, but not this guy. Like, this guy's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I love this stuff.
Yeah. I could be persuaded to see him in lower S tier, but I think A tier, he's a solid A tier for me.
Solid A tier.
Definitely solid A.
Okay, I'm going to roll D6, as we all need to do. On evens, he is in S tier, and odds, he is in A tier. Odds, he is going to be at the top, very top of A tier. There we go. Over there. All right. The Khan is up next. Not my favorite Primarch or Legion, I have to say. I think the Scars novels did a really good job of humanizing this Legion and making it more of a thing. But even in saying that, it's GCSE history as a Legion. It's not even kind of, it's literally Genghis Khan in space, beat for beat, blow for blow, his story, you know, on a galactic scale. It's fine. I just think there's more interesting things you can do with the White Scars, and for all of the coolness that are in the Scars novels, I just think they didn't try hard enough when creating the initial faction, the initial White Scars Legion. It's just Mongols and space riding bikes, and that sounds cool until you realize it's literally Mongols and space riding bikes with the serial numbers filed off and replaced with something else. The Khan himself, really cool Primarch in my opinion. Really good zingers coming back at everybody, and keeps himself nomadic warrior. I like that style. He's basically Conan the Barbarian in space. It's pretty cool. But again, I just cannot get past that aesthetic. If the core of your Legion is compromised because it's too close to modern history, like an allegory, then you ain't for me. I don't know. What do you guys think of the Khan? Am I being too negative on him, or?
I wouldn't say too negative, because you are pretty much right. It is just the Mongolians in space, pretty much. I will say though, I don't know much about them, but there was one book where, isn't it, Jagatite, Horus, and somebody else talking to Oh, what's the big psychic guy's name again?
Magnus.
Magnus. No, not No, the human guy. Emperor's best friend. Malcador.
Malcador Sigillate, yeah.
Yeah, because Malcador basically silences Horus with his psychic power, and then
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jagatai comes back with something about like, you know, you something happened to our two brothers, and like this is wrong. What's going on with this other element? I can't remember exactly what it was about, but I know Jagatai's basically got a moral compass to him.
Yeah, so basically what happened was the two Lost Legions had their statues pulled down.
That was it.
Terra.
That was it.
And Horus was told this by the Khan. The Khan knew what he was doing, by the way. And then Horus flies into a rage, goes up to Malcador and is giving him, wagging the finger at him. And Malcador eventually loses his temper and just like forces him to just like be on the floor choking. And the Khan goes, "Yeah, I told you shouldn't have said that," kind of thing. So yeah, it is a cool story, and I do like. Again, I like the Khan's personality. I just can't really get past what his Legion is. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and also everyone forgets that part of his Legion actually went traitor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Yep.
Because there's like a company on like a ship that comes in with like survivors from the drop site massacre, and they're like traitor survivors, but like loyalists from the traitor legions. And the White Scars convinces the Imperial Fists, because what's his name? The guy who brings the message to the Emperor about like why, Horus betrayed everyone.
I think
he goes to investigate.
It wasn't Logan. What
it was Garrow.
It was Garrow? It was Garrow.
Yeah, Garrow and Logan, I think. They go with the Imperial Fists to find out, what's going on with this ship. They think the loyalists from the traitor Marines are the bad guys, believing the loyalist White Scars, and then it's the White Scars who just turn around and shoot people in the back.
No, okay.
And everyone seems to forget that.
What do you reckon, Bob?
Well, yeah, so I like the White Scars. I do hear the points about them Mongolians in space. But like most things, Games Workshop had ideas, and when they expanded on them, they're basically starting really on the back foot. But I think Chris Wright did a great job with Scars. The Inner Civil War was very interesting. So yeah, the White Scars basically had one side that was very much for the Khan and the other side that was more loyal to Horus. However, the Khan manages to sort of resolve that for the most part. The Khan is a very interesting Primarch in the fact that he's very much about freedom, but his father is very much an authoritarian. And he has this sort of struggle in where is his place in the world going to be, or in the galaxy. And how far is he going to side with his father? I think he says, I side with the father that I hate to kill the brother that I love. Which I think is a very great line. And yeah, very cool. All about speed. If you love speed, then probably the White Scars are for you. They have a very cool color scheme. Also beats up more Tyrion. Has a great what's the word from Lord of the Rings, the Ride of the Rohirrim sort of scene, which is great. Yeah, very important for the loyalists winning the Horus Heresy. Not much, unfortunately, like a lot of legions in the 41st millennium. Not much going on. They had a bit of a battle with the Tau, which they lost, if I remember correctly.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They're a part of that. Part of that campaign.
Yeah, and I'd like to see more from the Khan, but who knows whenever he's going to be back.
So
I think there's a lot of potential with their faction.
Okay, so we're going. I'm leaning top of C tier. What are you guys leaning towards?
I'd agree with that. Top of
I'd
C.
put them in lower B tier. I was going to say A, just because of the Khan's sort of, what's the word that I'm looking for? his impact on the Horus Heresy and that how important he was to their victory. But I can see him being lower B, but up to you.
Let's do a roll. Let's do a roll. Evens B, odds C. Evens, so lower end of B. There we go. That is where we are for him. Rogel Dawn.
Before we move on, I do have to say also just another character that I think is quite done well is the Saka, his like Stormseer. Also has a great moment at the
when they're defending the trial and
at
like
the trial of Magnus. At the trial of Magnus, very interesting character. I also must say, the White Scars are barbarians in space done correctly.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Unlike the Space Wolves.
Yeah,
I'd say they're better barbarians in space than the Space Wolves are.
I would agree
Who
with
are
that.
actually up next, because they're actually the 6th Legion.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I thought it was Dawn.
Rogel Dawn's number 7. Lehman Russ is number 6.
All right, let's do Russ then. Good old Russell.
Worst of the worst. All done.
So, again, you all know my feelings on the Space Wolves. They've not changed over the years. You know, a legion with vast potential and a chapter with vast potential that is squandered by writers who are just intent on sucking them off at all times. Their behavior in the heresy borderlines on schizophrenic and just the height of retardation. Their wantonness to destroy the Thousand Sons at the slightest nudge from Horus really didn't sit well with me. The ease with which they defeated the Thousand Sons really didn't sit well with me. Stunk of favoritism towards their legion. Them going and actually making it to Terra and voluntarily choosing to leave and go and fight Horus themselves, with Lehman Russ at their head, is the most stupid thing I've ever seen a force do in 40k, and I've seen some stupid shit in my time. I have such respect for the Space Wolves that if they were at Terra, it wouldn't have gone that far, right? You know, Horus would have gotten nowhere near the Imperial Palace with them there too. That is how much respect I have for their power level. So people who think I just hate the Space Wolves, no, I absolutely get why they're cool and why they're powerful. I just don't think it needs to be at everybody else's expense and the entire setting. They don't fit into 40k. If we move it away from there, of course Russ fails to kill Horus and gets himself punted into the other end of the galaxy because it's Russ. You know, he just disappears one day because whatever, you know, lazy writing, just disappears after the heresy. Just, you know, goodbye. I'll be back for the Wolf time. What is that? Who knows? Whatever. The 41st millennium is when we really see the worst excesses of the meme Space Wolves. It's like jerk-ass Homer from The Simpsons, you know what I mean? Like, just cringe. Every time they turn up, it's cringe. Every time Ragnar Blackmane appears anywhere, you just roll your eyes going, okay, what awesome things are you going to do now that completely disregards everybody else in the setting because he's just so awesome, you know, and it keeps going. The Months of Shame, again, said it before, say it again, one of the worst pieces of lore ever written in 40k. And isn't it funny, when we get to the worst pieces of lore ever written by 40k, it's always these fucktards who are at the center of it. This seems to be a bit, you know, a pattern's emerging here. The Months of Shame, where one single Space Marine chapter, I don't care how big it is, decides to go up against the entire Inquisition and just wins. You know, just gets away with it. You know, yes, their homeworld was assaulted by the Inquisition, but they still killed the Inquisitor and got away with it, and were allowed to kill him, and just, yeah, you know, and now everyone shakes hands and walks away because the Sons of Russ are so badass. No, fuck that. They break every law 40k has for their own basically for their own amusement. Like, they don't belong here. That's their issue. They don't belong in 40k. They don't belong in Horus Heresy. They could if they were written properly. Here's the thing: the White Scars barely belong in 40k because they're written properly, right? That they actually have decent characters, decent Legion cultures, things like that. And the Scars books did a huge heavy lifting to make them make sense, but they're still bottom of B tier for me. They just about belong in 40k for me. That's why I would have put them in C tier if it was me. Russ and the Space Wolves do not belong in this hobby at all. They just don't. I'm willing to hear counter arguments, but like,
if this was going back to between 2nd and 3rd edition, they would get higher for me.
yeah, I agree.
Because if I can't remember exactly when the Armageddon Inquisitor story came out, I'm sure that came out during like the 3rd Armageddon War arc that they did to explain like the backstory of the planet. But like that's where they got like the knock on with the Inquisition, because the Inquisition just wanted to like vaporize everyone on the planet, even though everyone on the planet just defended a chaos invasion. So like the Wolves were like more honor based back then, because their stint was, well, it's dishonorable to just murder all these defenders because they've just sacrificed everything. And also, the fucking rule set back then was weird, because they were the only chapter that allowed a Leman Russ Annihilator, which was one of the best Marine killers.
I gotcha. What reckon, board?
Alright, let me prepare myself. I've been preparing myself for a while now, so let me just get my rant.
I knew I didn't even need to do anything. I'll just be the devil's advocate for them.
The straight man.
I agree with pretty much everything North has said.
No,
if
saying
you love
that,
the Space Wolves, I'm glad for you. They were made for you, but they were made for me to hate them. They are the worst faction in 40k. They are absolutely awful. Every time a Space Wolf comes in a video game or in a book, I roll my eyes back and prepare myself. Just like in the Rogue Trader book game. They try to be one of the worst things in literature, and it's the sort of lovable, unintelligent barbarian, but also just so wise. Aren't they so wise, guys? When you're asking, why is the Space Wolf eating its dead victims? Are there more than one reason to eat? Just absolute morons. They call all the other Primarchs Jarls, and they call Leman Russ king. Piss off. Who do you think you are? Not only that, it all comes together at the center of who the Space Wolves are, and at the center is Leman Russ, the worst Primarch. Absolutely insufferable, an absolute moron. Thinks he's the best thing ever. How do you know this? Is in how he acts. He comes up to Horus and literally says, which one of us do you think would win in a fight? If anyone ever says that to you, it should immediately go down in your opinion of them. Because they say that for two reasons. Either it's because they want you to say how great they are, or they want you to deny that they would win and you would win, so they can tell you how great they are and how epic a fighter they are. Leman Russ goes through a whole list of why he would beat all the other Primarchs. And he goes, oh, this guy's too strong, too slow, too fast, too crazy. Just on and on and on and on. These guys are the absolute worst.
It's also like...
He even just...
Go on,
yeah. But
Sorry.
he even takes things on himself, goes to try and rein Angron in. The Knight of the Wolf, worst name for that incident ever, just comes on and tries to tell Angron, you know, how to be a better person. And it's one of Angron's best moments is when actually Angron tells him, listen, if I didn't have these nails in my brain, maybe I would be a more moral man like you claim to be. Because if you were as moral as you claim to be, you'd walk the steps of our father's palace and take the tyrant's head. It was the one sort of loss that GW gave him is when Angron smacks him to the ground and he crawls on the ground. But Russ is such a moron. He doesn't understand who Angron is. He just wants to die. But Russ, his amazing plan is he's going to show you that he's outnumbered you, not a very honorable way, like he claims to be such an honorable guy in honorable duels. Basically outnumbers him with his legion and funnels off the rest of the World Eaters, basically putting him in a kill box.
Yeah.
And then, like, talks down to him. Like, he's such great stuff. Like,
it's the
and
Emperor's
then they
Executioner
retreat.
stuff. I like. You can't give yourself a title, and then just be like, "That's who we are now." Nobody else thinks that. Nobody else thinks you're the Emperor's Execute. We've seen it done once, and you'd failed because Magnus is still out there. The Thousand Sons are still out there. You're a joke. Like, it's not. You know, the only evidence we have to your greatest claim is that you failed at it. Like,
Yeah. And
you know.
as Angron says, executioners are only needed when the battle is over.
Yeah.
So you're not even great at naming yourselves.
Yeah. Well,
You're also missing out on the Dark Angels and Space Wolves tip fit that they have going on, because old rule sets had if you were playing along with a friend as an ally and they were Space Wolves and you were Dark Angels, pretty sure you had to have your leaders actually fucking do a round of combat.
You did, yeah, you had to fight, yeah.
Before the game even started.
I'm happy with that. Which brings me on to another point of him starting a fight with Lionel Johnson. And a lot of people say, ooh, you know, because Lionel Johnson beats him with a sword, and then Leman Russ turns it into a fist fight. They fight for several days, and then he starts laughing, and people say, ooh, the lion gave him a sucker punch. I'm sorry, you don't get to start a fight, and then after a while start laughing, and now say, okay, the fight's over. The fight's over when either one of you can't fight anymore, or you both agree the fight's over. I mean, North, imagine if I just suddenly start a fight with you, and I'm smashing my fist into your face, and just start laughing.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
whoa, bro, why do you continue fighting? The fight's over.
Yeah.
That's a very anime scene, that, as well. When fucking two people that have been fighting for days just go, you know what, why were we fighting? Oh, we are friends now.
We'll be here all day if I keep going. Yeah, I hate the Space Wolves. Rant over. I'm sorry.
So, we are hovering dangerously close to John Grammatica's territory here. I'm not going to put them in there. I'm going to campaign for them to be in D tier, because for all of their foibles and faults, they have nice models, new ones, and I actually want to build a Space Wolf army and do it right. So, because the actual point of them, it would be so easy to get this right, to do it properly. You know what I mean? We are nearly there with the Space Wolves. It just, do you know what? Fuck it, John Grammaticus, fuck them. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Do you know how I know they deserve to be in there? Because I'm trying to make a case for them not to be, and I can't think of anything. I'm trying my best why they shouldn't be.
I'm just still salty that I had to buy blood claws just to get easy access to plastic power weapons.
There you go. Fuck them. Put them in there. All right.
Like, back then, like, the only way to get power weapons in plastic form was really just to buy the blood claws kits and then just snip off all the insignias and stuff. It was just awkward.
I'll make it easy for you, North. Bernia Prospero, the book. How do you like that book? One of Dan Abnett's best works, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we are currently in. I wouldn't worry. Like,
That's going to come up.
That'll be mentioned later on. Let's go with Dawn then. Rogel Dawn. Like, where are we sticking him? Because I did a video with the Black Lodge Games dudes a little while ago, and Nick liked the aesthetic of the Imperial Fists, and that they're good defenders and stuff, and that they end up being the Black Templars and all these other things. Matt didn't. He was the opposite side, and I think that video is so cool because you can see everybody has one of those two opinions on the Imperial Fists. There's nobody in between. You either love them for being stalwart defenders of Terra and for being cool, or you hate them because they're just boring, stoic, normal dudes. You know, the straight men of the setting. And they're also a legion that is woefully overshadowed by successor chapters, like by a long way. It's not even... name me who the chapter master is of the Imperial Fists.
Chapter Master Valrak.
Nope. He wants to be, but no.
He wants to be.
Yeah, no one can, right? Okay. It's not Lysander. He's a captain. So it's not him. It's just... I'm gonna look that up. Because I've even forgotten his name. This is what I mean. Imperial Fists.
The only good thing to come out of the Imperial Fist is Sigismund.
And the Templars as well. Gregor Desane. Who? No idea. Who cares? So yeah, they are really, really, really overshadowed hugely by their successor chapters. What do we think about the Imperial Fists? And this is one I'm gonna from now on, I think I'm gonna let you guys decide. At the end of your arguments, tell me what tier they're going in, and then I'll be a tiebreaker if need be. All right. So who wants to go first?
I'll go because for me, the Imperial Fist is just like a meh kind of legion because again, it's one of them needed for the story, but it's very it's like modern day Ultramarines. They're very bland. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like I said before, the only good thing for me to come out of the Imperial Fist is Sigismund, because some of his story beats are quite good, with him and Khan having a friendship. The whole chain around his wrist with the black sword comes from Khan because you can't lose your weapon during duels.
Khan also said something cool about the Space Wolves that I think Board turned me on to, but he said, we used to be the Warhounds, but we're not that anymore, because you know what a hound is, right? It comes when it's called, it attacks when it's told to, and it sits at the feet of its master. Okay, you Space Wolves, you're not wolves, you're dogs. That's the behavior of a dog. You are dogs, you're not wolves. Wolves are... Fucking Raven Guard are more wolf than you. They're wolves. You're dogs. Anyway, moving on. Yes, back to Charlie's point.
But yeah, no, just like I said, Sigismund. So for me, Imperial Fist sort of D tier.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna get fucking hate for that, but I don't care.
No, it's alright. Board?
Yeah. So I used to not particularly like the Imperial Fist because, like everyone says, they're kind of boring. But they do have interesting characters, and definitely they shine, obviously, in the Siege of Terra because they're mainly that's all there is. It's just a lot of Imperial Fist guys. But in the Scour Ashes of Imperium, they are really starting to get a lot more interesting to me, at least when it comes to Dawn and some of the other characters. I really do feel for them in Ashes of Imperium, how they're sort of, they spent this whole time defending the Imperium, but then it's now all about the Ultramarines now, because they're the ones bringing the food. They do have very interesting characters in Sigismund, as well as he was very nice, very good in... I can't remember the book was, but it was during the Imperium Secundus. I think he's the Crimson Fist founder. I forget his name. Who has a nice relationship with the ex-Iron Warriors character. So that dynamic is very interesting. Rogel Dawn, yeah, he's I'm battling to place it where I'm feeling on him, because he does defend Terra and he successfully does it. He also does face off against Fulgrim and survives. He
does fight the one of the brothers, doesn't he? What is it? The Snake chapter.
Yeah, he does kill Alfarius, which not a lot of Primarchs can say they've... Or Omegon, who knows? Alfarius. So I was leading them to be an A tier, just how powerful they are at the Siege of Terra. But also, I do need to look at the modern lore, and they haven't done so much. And like North says, they're sort of really overshadowed by the Black Templars and the Crimson Fists.
Well, that's the
Um,
problematic story part of, like, they get pulled off the front lines of the Great Crusade to build the Imperial Palace, so they're not doing anything through the Great Crusade. The only two stories I know of outside of the Crusade era is they're the Patreons of what's the Hive City game?
Necromunda.
Necromunda. They're the Patreons in Necromunda, and they had a chapter fortress that got sieged by the Iron Hands to steal more gene seed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they got 300 like gene seeds
Iron
taken in an
Hands.
entire
Maybe
Iron
stole-
Iron
Hands.
Warriors. Iron Warriors.
Was it Iron Warriors?
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
I was about to say,
Sorry.
oh, traitorous stuff from the Iron
Yeah,
Hands.
yeah.
But
I always get them two mixed up. Always.
Yeah. But I'll say I think they're probably a B tier faction.
Okay. What are we thinking, Charlie? B tier?
Well,
good for
I
you?
think I said D tier before, so I guess if we're meeting in the middle.
I would say C. So yeah, we'll meet in the middle. We'll do that. Awesome.
Maybe because just I don't know that much about them. Like I said, they're apart from some of the Great Crusade stuff, they're the only other two stories I know of the Imperial Fists.
Okay. Kurz is up next. A legion single-handedly saved by Aaron Dembski-Bowden and his Night Lords trilogy. Very cool faction. You seem to... The guys who love going crazy and just having really cool, like, unapologetic characters, they love the Night Lords. Like, that's their big faction. In terms of Legion on Legion fighting, not very good, as we know. Whenever they've come up against a Legion of equal or strength, they seem to come up short. Mainly because they're a brutalization Legion towards civilians rather than other trained warriors. They're still very powerful. They're still really cool. But in terms of actual powerful Legion, they're probably not one of the top tiers. Kurz himself, though, is a unit. Not just a unit, he's probably the best on-hand, no weapon combat Primarch in the actual Primarchs. Like, there's no one better than him just fighting with your hands. And mainly because he's just fucking insane. I don't think there's any more unabashed evil Legion than this. I think it's unequivocal, and sometimes in settings and in in stories, you need a not complicated villain, and that is what the Night Lords are. Yes, Kurz has certain tragic elements to him, but he's a piece of shit. Like, let's be honest. There's no. Yes, okay. He has certain parts to him that are, yeah, I have these visions and they're really fucking me up, and if only I could just get past this. And no, he's a piece of shit. Even on his own world, back in the day, he takes the Emperor's reason for his existence, to be a judge, or justicar, whatever, twists it and is corrupted and is doing really nasty things to the world. Now, he does get peace on the world from Nostromo, it's fine, but still, this is not a person who is good, unabashed evil, and even when they're trying to be humanized in the Night Lord's books, it's pretty clear these are not good people. These are not, not great. So what do you guys think about the Night Lord? We'll start with Board this time on the Night Lords. What do you guys reckon?
Alright, so Kurz, very interesting character. Very similar to Fulgrim in a character you love to hate. Like, he's very much the Joker. I'm evil and I love it. And everything I do is justified because I don't decide my own fate. Fate is what has to be followed. Very easy to get villains from the Night Lords. I haven't read the Night Lords trilogy yet. It's on my list. Looking forward to getting into that. Very, as I say, most evil of evils. Knitting a wall of alive humans together to make a massive wall of groaning and crying out in pain people. Yeah, They're just evil. Also, Kerr's very interesting fight scenes with him. Obviously, he does get the better of the lion once. The second time, he also actually gets the better of the lion because he's able to use Gilliman sort of as a shield. So stupid Gilliman keeps getting in the lion's way and trap them in a room with an explosion. So getting in the... I don't think anyone else has the ability to take on 2 Primarchs at once. So he definitely gets a lot of points for that. The Legion themselves, yeah, interesting individually, because they're a Legion of Assassins. That's basically what they are. They're a Legion of kill teams, which is not great when you have a Legion of kill teams versus an actual army. But individually in small war bands, they become very interesting. So I'm very much leaning towards lower A, high B, because I think they're so great to be used as villains, and they know what they are. They, like you say, they don't want to be complicated. They're like, we know we're bad guys, and we just love it.
What do you reckon, Charlie?
Pretty similar thoughts. Like, I've always joked about how, like, Kers is basically emo Batman who opened the Hellraiser box. Which is, you know, pretty apt. Like, as much as, like, you can... They kind of go off the adage of the only just war is a quick war. So they justify, like, oh, well, we submitted a planet in a week by just dropping 40,000, like, skinned corpses on the capital city. But we stopped the war with only 40,000 people dying. So they're a crazy fucking chapter. Very easy to get, like, you know, means justify the ends kind of evil acts to come from. So story-wise, I've always liked them for, like, that ability. And as Kers goes, Kers is just, I don't know. Because there is a point in his backstory book where he could have, like, went to the right side, because there's this kid who he sees a future of, and this kid helps him make peace with the planet in a better way and all this stuff. But he also sees the alternative future where the kid also does even worse evil acts than what Kers would have done. So Kers just kills him just because he can't be sure.
Yeah. Well, I think purity of purpose is what the Night Lords are, basically, aren't they? You know, this is who they are. So remind me of where you were thinking, Board. Where were you thinking on this scale?
I was thinking lower A, upper B, because also I do have to mention, we don't talk about it as much. I think we haven't said as much, but they do have a very cool color scheme, as well as I think their Legion symbol is also very cool.
I think that will push them into A. To be honest with you, I think that the color scheme itself is the thing that's gonna, like, whack them up there, in my opinion. You agree with that, Charlie?
Yeah.
All right. That is the Night Lords. Night Lords fans, you will be happy. Sanguinius is up next. It's only fair that we let the resident Blood Angel in the room take the floor for this one. Charlie,
my
regale
beautiful
us.
Hawk boy.
Yeah,
My
regale us
beautiful
on
Hawk
the
boy.
regale us on the trials.
Well, obviously
and
this
tribulations of the Blood
is
Angels.
the bias showing, but Blood Angels to me is S tier. Like, they've got a dichotomy effect where they are one of the most noble chapters, most beautiful chapters, but they've got, like, even in the Horus Heresy era, they've just got this insane, horrific bloodlust where they'll just black out and wake up in a pool of blood in a room with, like, 20 civilians that they were 10 minutes ago guarding with their life, you know, saying to them, don't worry, I'll get you out of here. Like, so they've got this weird dichotomy of them that to actually get over it, they have to paint frescoes, they have to chisel artwork. Like, it's such a weird chapter, even without the whole vampire aesthetic. And then, like, Sanguinius himself, like, he is the Christmas guy for Warhammer 40k.
Yeah, Yeah.
Like Sanguinala is named after him. It's Warhammer 40k Christmas.
Mhm.
So you've got the Jesus analogs to him, where he knows his duty. He knows he's going to die, so he accepts his fate and still goes for it. And because he knows where he's going to die, he knows, like during the Siege of Terror, I can just bomb everybody. Is it Kabandon? The demon he snapped
Kabanda,
on his
yeah.
fucking knee?
Bandai.
Like,
Kabanda, yeah.
he just, like, you know, he already had a fight with him before that he got stoned over during the, when,
Cygnus Prime.
Horus, when Horus sends him to Cygnus, where you also get one of the best stories of another sacrifice where a apothecary sacrifices himself to a demon lord instead of Sanguinius, so that they can actually win the fight, because the demon's asking for Sanguinius' sacrifice because he's going to murder all his children. So like he is the Papa of the universe, in my opinion. So yeah, like I could go on and just ramble, but I'll give the floor to Board.
Yeah, Blood Angels, very cool chapter. Sanguinius is definitely, like, everyone loves him. Even Kurz sort of likes him. I think if a deep down in his corpse heart.
Well, he's the only person
Very
who can
powerful.
attempt to empathize with Kurz with all like the psychic premonitions.
Very powerful Primarch. Has a tragic fall and knew his death was coming. Also gets to be emperor for a bit in Imperium Secundus. The Blood Angels in the 41st millennium. Also very interesting. I will say that I think it's a bit irritating how the Ultramarines come save them and the destruction of Baal. I really enjoyed the Blood Angels Omnibus. I think that was a very interesting story. And yeah, the sort of story of fighting against the monster within is a very interesting story. It's done all over all the time, but if you do it right, it makes a faction or a character very interesting. Yeah, S tier. I battle to see how they're not.
Yeah, like
I think any failings is because the writer's just not understanding the faction, or it's because a writer loves another faction so much that they give the Blood Angels an L.
Well, luckily, the people who've written like some of the Blood Angel novels do seem to understand. Like the Dante novel was really good, explaining like his life of how he actually, you know, became a Space Marine, but like juxtaposing it with bits of his life when he's older and also when he's in like starting out as an actual full-fledged Space Marine, which is where you get one of the arcs of like he's defending civilians from like an orc attack, I think it is, but then during the fight he blacks out, wakes up with his brothers around him and a sanguinary priest, because he's just murdered all the civilians and there's one guy left, but because they have to keep the secret, sorry, but they execute the kid or the guardsman or whoever it was. And it's just as a side point, I will say I kind of wish they would let Sanguinius die, not Sanguinius, Dante die.
Yeah.
Dante needs to be allowed to go to sleep. Like they got rid of Tycho in the third Armageddon War because he was too much of an OP character. But like, come on, Dante's had over 1,000 years. He was literally crying to Sanguinius while he's unconscious in like a fucking warp dream state, begging him, just, can I just please die? Is my duty over? Can I just go?
No.
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 And then to top it off, fucking Gilliman's like, yeah, you're going through the Primaris Rubicon, so you're probably going to live another 1,000 years now. Like the torment, the absolute torment for Dante.
Well, this is it. Like there is such a thing as living too long, I suppose. Like if somebody could think of that, and what would immortality look like in a human soul? And I quite
Dante
like the
is
Blood
very human.
Yeah, I quite like the Blood Angels. I think the Revenant Legion is right up my street. You know, this cannibal legion with malfunctioning glands in them. You know, the gene seed curse that makes them want to eat people. That's cool. The vampire shtick I could do without. I'm not gonna lie. space vampires is something that they're not beating the allegations with people like Mephiston and dudes like that walking around in that kind of armor. That I could do without. I am going to be honest. That is not my jam at all. I like the Black Rage. I even like the cannibalism part. I like flawed heroes. This is all good. That's what the Blood Angels are. But also, like, they go a bit far. The Games Workshop start to just nail down that they are literally vampires in space, and that is it. We're not going. And Games Workshop have a prevalence for doing this. They will come in and they'll boil down a really cool faction to its most base parts, and I don't like it. And whilst I really want to put somebody in S tier, if the Iron Warriors are not in S tier and the Dark Angels are not in S tier, I don't know how we're putting Blood Angels in there, because I would make a case for them being the very top of A tier, but unless we're putting one of those legions in S tier, because I don't think Blood Angels beat them in terms of interest and power, and mainly because of that gimmick. If that gimmick was not there, it wouldn't even be a discussion. Do you know what I mean? But it is, and we've got to deal with it. So
I can agree with you on the gimmick, because like at least it is a gimmick, but in my opinion, at least he actually came up with a good counter to it. To like, oh well, to suppress the gimmick, we are, like I said, doing frescoes and
artisans,
artisan paintings and sculpts and shit. But no, like, I don't like the whole vampire thing as like either.
I don't get
So yeah, no, my personal, like, this is my personal bias. It is S tier, but I will like meet the middle with like top of A.
What do you reckon, Board? We're going for ratings now. Where are we putting them?
So yeah, Sanguinius himself, I think, is S.
Oh yeah.
But I do hear the problems with the Blood Angels. The vampire thing doesn't irritate me. Like, them having fangs doesn't irritate me. Them liking to drink blood doesn't irritate me so much. But when you're going so full in the vampire thing, then yeah, I hear you on the vampire.
When they're sleeping in caskets,
well, it's
kind of
more,
like, oh.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's more like the whole creation ceremony where they have to drink a vial of the blood, pass out, get implants put in a sarcophagus that gets filled up to the top with blood, and sometimes they wake up within the process and go insane. So when they get let out, they have to just get executed, because like now vampire, like literal actual vampire freaks.
So is it just the vampire thing? Because like, I'm just thinking, the Black or the Death Company, awesome. Red Thirst, awesome. Black Rage, awesome. Awesome characters in Dante, and I can't remember the head psychic
Mephiston.
name.
Mephiston. Corbulo is the Sanguinary Priest. My old guy Tycho, which was he went fucking Black Rage during the Third Black Crusade, and then they just axed him.
Yeah.
To be fair though, having a leader with a standard bolter, melter combi weapon, a digi weapon, bionics to give him an invulnerable save, all for fucking pretty low price. Like that, he was one of the most OP characters.
I will say I hear you, North. If we're not putting Dark Angels or Iron Warriors in S tier, yeah, the Blood Angel, then they should be A tier.
Okay. Well, solid A tier. I think we're going to put them just behind Iron Warriors, I would say.
They do have one of the they do have one of the best Warhammer Plus animations with Angels of Death. The scene with the Terminator with the missing arm, and he's just, the boys are in the elevator, we're going to war. It's nice to see you, brothers. Are you doing well? Looks at the other guy with a missing arm and goes, I see you, brother. It's just like, yes, the boys.
All right. Ferrus Manus, the guy done dirty, and the Iron Hands. I think this is something where we can put, unfortunately, Ferrus Manus as a Primarch D tier. I don't care how many times Horus says you're a cool guy. I saw you for 5 minutes. I can't make a judgment. So
Yeah, no, we need.
no.
I wish we could have got more
Me too.
backstory books of him.
Yeah. Or more of him anywhere. His Legion, though. Again, outshone by their 40k chapter by a long way, in my opinion. Because the Iron Hands are cool. They look awesome. They have that really cool Mechanicus aesthetic where they're just crazy. They're just mental. The flesh is weak, all 9 yards. Black armor is cool. I like their clan systems. I like how they've gone to being more unfeeling as time has gone on. And it's a real slow degradation of what the chapter and Legion used to be to what it is now. And I like that kind of thing. That's my kind of stuff. Who wants to go first with the Iron Hands? We'll all think. We'll go board now.
Board go.
Yeah, we'll go with board now.
Okay. Iron Hands, there's not much to say, to be honest, because they don't get as much love as they probably should. Just like a lot of legions and chapters, they need more. I put them with the Raven Guard, the White Scars. You know, they need more stuff out there. There's not that much. I do like what they want to be, but they sort of very much... The Primarch always seems to be the focal point of a lot of the legions, and they're just held back by that so much. It's old lore that had to happen, and they're sort of just held back by that. They are very interesting, but do we really have much? Like, what Iron Hand books are there?
Mm-hmm.
There is, like, my first introduction to Iron Hands really was through a novel book that had a group of Iron Hands link up with tech priests that were looking for a lost Forge world with Titans. And it was a whole thing where the Titans ended up being corrupted and Chaos showed up to reclaim the Titans because the Iron Hands had opened the vault and all this. But
this is the thing.
That's the only real novel I know of them apart from Horus Heresy stuff. And most of the Horus Heresy stuff is the Black Shield, like, era of the Iron Hands.
Yeah, but what book focuses on them and their chapter?
Yeah, they're called.
Like, I'm talking about, like, from initiate all the way to full Marine to, like, captain of your own clan or company or whatever. And we don't really have anything. This is the issue. And I feel for the Iron Hands, because I think all the main legions should have their own range and should have their own bunch of books to deepen their lore.
The only lore stuff I have ever seen compilated is in an Index Astartes, and that's about it. Those old Index Astartes books you used to get. That's the only place I know of, like, written word where you would get that stuff. I have never seen an actual novel with it.
Gotcha.
So it's sad, but I'd say they have to be D, because as much as I want to like them, I don't have much to go on. Like, unless I'm mistaken.
There is a bit to go on, because they're part of the Angel Exterminatus book, because them and the remnants of the Raven Guard, like, snipe Fulgrim in the face and then dip. And it's one of the most funniest chase stories. But
this is
you've
the
also
thing.
got Shadrach Medusan as well. But Shadrach Medusan drops, if I remember rightly, he ends up dropping the ball and commits to something that he shouldn't have. And he gets told that you shouldn't commit to this. But he does it anyway because he wants revenge. So he becomes, like, he starts off good, but then he just, I don't know, like, did GW just go, we don't know what to write for this guy now, let's just kill him off.
But this is the thing, they're always, like, secondary characters. Or, you know, sidekicks.
Yeah, unfortunately, the consequence of being the Legion that got domed the most at the drop site massacre.
Which brings me back to my point of all the legions tend to be placed based on where their Primarch is, and because of what their Primarch did, it holds them back, and that's why I say D.
Okay.
I would say C, but again, meeting in the middle, I'd do top of D or something.
I would say C, but I'm also thinking D. So we'll do the D6 test. We will do even C and odds D. It is evens, so we are going. Ferrus Manus is saved from the ignominy of being our only D so far, and he goes into C. All right, Angron. There is only one person to do the intro to Angron, and it is our resident world eater over there in board. So, where should Angron go, board, and why? And his legion as well.
I even got my World Eater shirt on.
Nice.
Yeah. So Angron, a really tragic story. Absolutely, probably the only Primarch I say that was screwed from the very beginning. He is, enslaved, captured, had the butcher's nails put in, killed his foster father, led a rebellion, and then it brings up one of the things about the Emperor. The Emperor doing dumb things for who knows why.
Mm-hmm.
Decides to kidnap him on the eve of the final battle. Doesn't send the Warhounds down, doesn't send his Custodes down, doesn't join Angron in the fights, just decides to kidnap him, lets his friends die, and basically sets in stone the eternal hatred Angron has for him. And no one knows why the Emperor does it.
No, absolutely. Like, this is
Everyone
one of those when I'm just like, what the fuck did you do? Like, why did you do that? Like, there's no.
This is one of the things that me loving Blood Angels sort of makes me love these guys, because this is a weird fact. So Sanguinius kneels down to the Emperor and goes, I know that you want to do all this basically, not verbatim, but I want you to do all this. You want to do all this secular shit. These people, leave them be. Leave them to their culture and their ways for me. And the Emperor agrees. So why the fuck does the Emperor just turn around to this guy and go, no, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to help you. Come with me. Like, the Emperor could have easily helped out.
It's like the Lorgar problem. There are so many ways to head off issues like this that are just never done. Like, they're just never seized upon. Angron did not need to be a traitor. Now, he likely would have always been circling the drain of being traitor because he's Angron, right? He's just an angry boy. But I don't think it was a foregone conclusion. You know what I mean?
Isn't it written though that every Primarch is an element of the Emperor, and wasn't Angron meant to be his empathy?
He was meant to be the apothecary Primarch, yes.
Yeah, he was basically meant to be the healer Primarch.
Mm-hmm.
And the nails basically screwed that up and took his powers.
Which I love for him. I love that part of his story.
Yeah.
So cool.
Which
he's like
which makes it so tragic and everything.
Yeah.
His legion is then, obviously enforce the butcher's nails upon them, and we get what I love is so many broken characters.
Well, it's even worse than that, because they all do it voluntarily just to be closer to their dad, because they can't stand him because of they don't understand why he's such a raving lunatic, so they basically do it to get closer to him.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we get obviously great characters like Khan. We have very much an interesting culture of brotherhood, which is really, really awesome. We have the awesome emblem of the World Eaters, the jaws closing on a world. Obviously, they then eventually fall to Khorne. Also, Angron, one of the only Primarchs that didn't become a demon Primarch by his choice. It was against his will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically becomes a raging lunatic. I do think in the modern 40k, they sort of misunderstand who the World Eaters are. They sort of want Angron sort of to build his own empire. That's not what Angron is. Angron basically should be, he has this one little planet, and tons of warriors come to him seeking blood and rage, and then he goes on a blood crusade and is basically fire just spreading slowly across the galaxy until it runs out of steam, and then it goes back to the planet, and then it starts all over again. That's how Angron should be in the 41st millennium. But also, I have to bring up the Knight of the Wolf again, has an epic smackdown to Leman Russ, telling him basically how the Emperor's a tyrant, how he's meant to conquer worlds that are awful, but then other times he's meant to conquer peaceful worlds that are meant to be just left alone. Does he leave those worlds? No, the Emperor needs his tithe, so he needs compliance. And yeah, smacks Leman Russ around, has many epic scenes, also with Sanguinius going one-on-one with him. The only thing I really hate is my poor boy Angron. He basically is a punching bag now. He just loses to everyone.
Yeah.
They even give Logan Grimnar beating Angron. Come on now.
I think that's probably a consequence of the whole law thing where he's literally immortal, and
Yeah,
if you beat him, he
can
comes
come
back
back
in
and
like
come
so
back.
many days, so many hours.
Yeah, which I hate. I hate that. I think it's dumb and it shouldn't be happening. But
Also,
Angron, as in terms of how effective the Legion are at war, I'd put them at maybe a C. Of how awesome they are, I'd put them at an A. So I'd go with a B, personally. Khan also, great character, has a wonderful story. Falling to Khorne, also very tragic. Losing his friend in Argoltal, also very tragic. Smacking Erebus and beating the shit out of him, very satisfying. And shocking Erebus because he didn't see this future where Khan beats the shit out of him. Very satisfying. The World Eaters, if you love close combat, the World Eaters are for you. If you love chain swords, the World Eaters are for you. If you love red, the World Eaters are for you. The World Eaters are awesome. That's what I have to say about the World
And
Eaters.
that's why they're going in B tier where you selected, because they're a very good impassioned argument.
yeah, they are a good chapter for the lore and stuff.
Mhm.
Like Khan is one of my favorite like in-universe characters.
Khan is cool. He's also a character you can use to beat up your own character. So if you're making a chapter master, you want to get put in like a fucking stasis vault or something, use Khan.
And they
Hilarious.
also, even though she's fucking psychotic, they also give us one of the best female characters.
Oh
for
yeah,
40K.
Latara Sarin,
Yeah. Even though she has to be a bit batshit insane to literally turn around to Angron and tell him off like a mother. Same with, like, she gets pissed off at one guy because he's meant to defend the ship. He leaves the ship because he just wants to kill things. The Ultramarines board the ship. He comes back. She draws her pistol and puts a bullet in his face because she's pissed off. And everyone defends her because he goes into a rage and everyone just jumps him. Because it's
Once
true,
again-
you disobeyed the fucking orders.
I'll repeat what North said, and once again, it's Aram Dembski Bowden, the real best author of 40k, bringing up awesome legions and doing them justice. North, what do you think of the World Eaters? We haven't heard your thoughts.
I love them. Like, I just think they're the best. Well, not the best, but they are very, very, very cool. I can't really add to what you've said because you've said everything that I think about them. I think they're really, really cool, and I think I like tragic legions, and they're definitely that. Absolutely, definitely that. So I think, yeah, I would put them solidly in B tier. Gilliman is up next, and for Gilliman, I think this might be our first D tier Legion chapter and Primarch. Initially because I don't think he could combat beat any of the other Primarchs, which is fair enough. He could certainly strategically beat the other Primarchs, which is great, but he has taken losses in the past too. He's a great empire builder, a great statesman, and whilst I would have put him in C for what he's done in the Dark Imperium novels, and since he's come back to the galaxy and stuff, I need to put him in D in my opinion, simply because of the Ashes of the Imperium and how much of a little rat he is to everybody else. How much he's now basically doing a power grab against the Emperor. It's very cynical, very weird. I don't like it. But that's the law now. That's who he is. He's still got it in his makeup even now. So, Gilliman turning up to save everybody in the 41st Millennium. Listen, we don't need to talk about too much who the Ultramarines are. You know who they are. You've all played Space Marine 2. You all know what this hobby is. So, I don't think we need to go into their history so much. It's more what they are to the hobby that I'm judging this on. And to me, whilst they're very cool, and I like their aesthetic, I like what they do, I like the games that they're in. They are basically Romans in space, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, it is cool, but also, I wish I saw less of them. What do you guys reckon?
I have a weird what's the word? When you have two thoughts but they're opposing each other, because I really disliked Ultramarines until some of the Horus Heresy books, like the Battle of Calth book and the was it Forgotten Empire, when they create the Second Imperium. Yeah, Unremembered Empire. They made me like Gilliman a little bit more, which then proceeded to make me like the Legion. Plus Thiel is a G. Thiel's but like one of the few goats of the universe.
Yeah, he is cool.
Yeah, because like he's the only guy who goes, wait a second, none of us have ever thought about what would happen if Space Marines fought Space Marines. I'm going to do the Ultramarine things and create a theoretical. And then he gets fucking jumped on by the rest of his Legion because, you can't come up with an idea that Legion will fight Legion. That will never happen. Well, like a fucking few moments later meme. You know what I mean? It's like, so that improved it a little bit, but like some of the new stuff, I don't know. Like I would put them in D tier, but it's just, I think it's more to do with oversaturation. Because since I think 5th edition, everything was like Ultramarines.
Yeah, I think. So are we going against the D tier rating I'm putting in, or are we happy with them being in there?
I'm still thinking, because obviously I get irritated with Ultramarines always being in there, but I sort of feel for them being a Krieg player, loving the Death Corps of Krieg. We're sort of getting this sort of treatment when it comes to the Guard, and I sort of feel like that kid whose parent is a teacher, and that your parent keeps talking about you to the rest of the class, and you're just like, stop talking about me. You're making everyone hate me. So I sort of feel for the Ultramarines in that fact that they're just sort of being forced into the limelight.
Yeah, I got
But the problem is like you say, the Ashes of Imperium. It doesn't put Gilliman in a good light. At least in I've heard people say he's doing all the right stuff in Ashes of Imperium. But I think it puts him in a very negative light, and it makes no sense. Why aren't you telling your brothers about this? All this infighting could have easily been avoided if... I mean, he accuses the Lion of keeping too many secrets, and now this arsehole's just like such a hypocrite. He's keeping all these secrets for who knows why. Besides the fact he doesn't trust his brothers.
I thought he was starting to get a little bit more sympathy with the whole... Like, because he was dealing... When he first got revived, he was dealing with the whole... Wait, this is everything my dad said that shouldn't happen. Why is everyone praising him as a god? Why is everyone calling me, like, son of man kind of deal? And then having to deal with, was it Matthew? His personal scribe, basically constantly like praising him as god and stuff. I thought that was an interesting kind of line, but I have no idea where they're taking it, and also taking Gilliman himself.
I think this is another dice roll. Okay, C and D tier. We happy with the tiers?
Between them, yeah.
All right. So C is evens and D is odds. Evens again. So the dice are really on favor of these Primarchs today. So he is in C tier. All right, cool. I'm moving us along because we got the football in 45 minutes. So we got
Okay.
Lorgar at staging area now. I like Lorgar. I think the first Heretic is, again, another ADB novel, but one of the best novels in the Horus Heresy as a series. Wonderful to see quite a natural progression of a Primarch naturally falling to chaos. Like, this is a guy who I understood why he did what he did. You know, I absolutely all the way through. Understood it completely. Understood it, sympathized with it. The Emperor being... It's less retarded than how he treats Angron. But still kind of retarded. Like, the fact that he could just, at any point, you could even lie to Lorgar saying, hey, you know, I'm going to put on a show here, but just so you know I'm a god, so thanks for doing what you're doing, that kind of thing. And not told anybody else, and he would have kept him on side forever. That's it. No Horus Heresy, nothing happens. Or even just said, do you know what, yeah, just speed up your conquests. Get out there, speed up your conquests, and we'll say no more about it. But ripping, and yeah, please don't worship me as a god while sitting on a big golden throne in golden armor and being 12 feet tall with abs that can cut cheese. You know, like, it just doesn't sit well with me. Lorgar's story, though, brilliant. Probably, weirdly, one of the most human Primarchs in that he is very flawed. He can be led along by other people, but his thing is, right, is that he says, all I ever wanted was the truth. And he sticks to that line. That's what I like about him. He never wavers from that line. Even when he's a loyalist, he's always wanting to just stick to the line of just the truth. I just want to know what's out there. I want to know what the meaning of all this is. And that's what leads him down the path to damnation. It's incredibly human, incredibly cool, and the original word bearers as a legion are fucking awesome. Huge legion, really well disciplined. They are, once they've had their slap down by the Emperor, they are the best legion. Like, we're even told they are literally the best legion. They go around conquering more than anybody else, including the Ultramarines and Dark Angels. They're just insane. Their downfall is tragic. Their color scheme's brilliant. They don't really have a combat doctrine, but to me, that's good, because it means you can paste your own on there. You can make your word bearers forces be whatever you want them to be, you know, that kind of a thing. So what do you guys think of the word bearers? What do you guys think of Lorgar himself, and at what tier should they go in?
Lorgar is somewhat another one of the tragic figures, because I think his story kind of goes off the nature versus nurture deal, because would he have been as thingy if Erebus didn't get... Is it Erebus?
Erebus,
Or was it Corferon? No, it's Corferon who's his dad, isn't it?
Yeah, Corferon's his dad, but they're both like father figures to him.
Yeah, but Corferon's the original fucking crazy guy, because he's the one who enslaves him, I believe, and then beats him.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for Corferon and him raising Lorgar, would Lorgar be, you know, the traitor, or would he have believed that the Emperor was the god that he was not trying to be, and so on and so forth? But no, it's like that, and also one of my favorite, Argel Tal, as was mentioned before by Board.
Argel Tal, yeah, man, what a
he's another tragic story, because he accepts all this bullshit after seeing, you know, the most beautiful city on the galaxy getting destroyed as punishment, and finding the only survivor, I believe it is, who's now blind, and she becomes the saint, and him, like, they've got this weird, it's like a weird love story that gets built up.
Mm-hmm.
If you can even have a love story between a Marine.
It is crazy, yeah, but it also sort of makes sense, although her character becomes a real irritant later on in the Horus Heresy, but we won't get into that. Board, what do you reckon?
Yeah, sorry, if you hear bumping, it's because I got monkeys now running along my roof.
It's alright.
The word bearers, I used to hate them a lot, because they were just evil. That's the law I sort of got as a youngster. But I think the Horus Heresy has done them a great favor. And once again, we've said it's Arendemski Bowden, like really giving great lore to Chaos factions. And I think I don't think many battles would be so cool if it wasn't for the word bearers. They're really those, you really feel sorry for them, part of you, and you're like, what could have been if things had been different? And Lorgar, like you said, it's that whole truth thing, and I think people can really grasp to that. I just want the truth. And they also just have so many great moments. That opening scene for I must tell the viewers, you need to go read First Heretic if you haven't. You don't need to have read any of the other Horus Heresy books. You could actually just start with First Heretic because it leads you along.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
And that final destruction of Monarchia, also Lorgar smacking Gilliman, is also quite satisfying. Gilliman's not put in a very good light, which kind of tells you what Arendemski Bowden thinks of Gilliman. And yeah, you also though do get such diversity in the word bearers being, you can have your crazed like worshipping the four gods of chaos, but you can also have your Argyle Tulls, which I'll use the gods of chaos, but I'm not like fully every day praying on my knees. But maybe Argyle Tull was kind of like that, but he didn't come across that way.
Well, he eventually merges with a demon. So
but you can basically build your World Eater warband. There's such variety in that that I think they're a really great faction, and I it's something I've been wondering, like, should the Black Legion and who's the war master now? What's his name?
Abaddon.
That's how Abaddon. Yeah, sorry, his name escaped me. Should he even still be around? Should maybe the word bearers come forth and take that mantle of Chaos Undivided?
Well, the Iron Warriors already are, so they're already in the new lore attacking not the Imperium, they're attacking the Black Legion and their holdings.
And I thought the World Bearers in current setting were somewhat like they're in every legion because they're the closest to like understanding the gods, and they become the sorcerers for most legions.
Yeah, so they're spread about as well. Yeah, but they're still a united force though on their home.
Yeah,
world,
no, they are
in the demon world. All right. So I'm gonna say A tier. Are we agreed on that?
Yeah, I'm fine with him.
I'll put him in front of Kurz. So behind Lion, Sanguinius, and Perturabo. Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay.
Not my favorite legion, but Argyle Tull does bump them a little bit for me.
Yeah. Mortarion next, Death Guard. The biggest hypocrite that there is in Mortarion. But also, again, another human Primarch. Very misunderstood. Very tragic in the way that he is made to deal with life and all things going on with him. So what do we think about Mortarion? Like, for me, I really like the Death Guard Legion pre-Heresy. I think they're awesome. Big, massive tanks, just relentlessly marching forward with big weaponry. I love it. I love their aesthetic of the uncoloured ceramite with green pauldrons or green shoulder rims, that kind of thing. Really like them. They have Nathaniel Garrow, who is like probably the most badass Space Marine apart from Sigismund in the Horus Heresy. In the modern setting, again, moustache-twirling villains, they're spread contagion, they're boiled down by 40k into their most memeified parts, which you see all the time, which is quite frustrating, but still cool, and very cool model with Mortarion too. What do you guys think of Mortarion?
I'll let Board take this first.
Very interesting legion. I think the aesthetic is very cool. I remember telling one of my students all the different legions, and he heard about the Death Guard loving to use poisons and toxins in warfare, and he gravitated immediately to that. Very interesting. I think it's also very tragic because Mortarion does love his sons. Basically, fell to Nurgle because of the love he had for his sons. Though I will say, kind of an idiot for not seeing Tarfon basically worming his way into. He literally took half his legion away.
Yeah.
So, also quite a good general. Very tough guy. Has a lot of interesting scenes, as you said. Nathaniel Garrow, also very awesome. Though sometimes also kind of funny. I remember the one scene, I think you've mentioned this, North, with the Plague Marine popping out of the tank going, "Oh, hello, guys."
Yeah.
Like,
Hello. Just gets out like, oh, Jesus, just jolly.
just all jolly all the time. So I'm sort of, there's a lot of pluses with the Death Guard, but I think there are also a lot of minuses. When they sort of become very much a one-trick pony. And yeah, I think they're very much a C faction for me.
I'm leaning there too. What do you reckon, Charlie?
I've always been about like C and D because like I can't really say much more. The only thing is I can say is like I did enjoy his in this like the story of his upbringing where he lands on a poison planet and all the humans have to live below a certain altitude and all these psychic aliens live above an altitude that they can survive. So it's like I liked all that. It explains how his mentality around I don't like psychers begins, which then brings into the fucking trial of Nicaea or the Council of Nicaea. But yeah, no, there's never really been any. There probably is, but I probably haven't read one. But I've never really read any interesting things around them apart from Garrow or Heron Fal. You know, the Dreadnought that basically shuts the door, helps shut the door for everybody else to survive when the virus bombs hit. And then his best friend, whose suit's bleeding, picks him up and then detonates them both with his reactor core, you know, just as a fuck you to the dickheads in space. Because I think the line in the book is, from orbit you just see a sun appear for a split moment. Is like a final defiance of like, you'll never actually take us. I'll take myself. So like I said, I've never read much interesting stuff apart from the peripheral stuff, like how they fell with Typhon being the infiltrator psyker that managed to convince everyone he wasn't psychic until they were trapped in the warp, and then convinced his dad to, if you would just agree to this guy, he'll help.
So let's whack. I think C is a fair estimation of where he should be. Probably in front of Gilliman, to be honest with you, in terms of interest, and in front of Ferrus Manus too. So just behind Dawn. And
I'd say behind Ferrus, because Ferrus does have at least some like the weird quirk where the flesh is weak, saying it actually has more, but everyone's forgot the fucking second part of the sentence.
No, I disagree. I think Ferrus Manus, like, we have so little on him. There's way more to chew on with the Death Guard and Mortarion than Ferrus Manus.
I think so.
Way more.
All right. Let's do the big man in the room. Horus Lupercal. Again, this might be a contender for S tier because, like, apart from
he is the crux of the entire universe.
Yeah, apart from getting stabbed by the poo blade, which I didn't really like, everything else kind of works. You know, like why he falls, how he falls. It was badly written, but I like the lore. The lore itself on a surface level is good, right? You know, he falls to chaos. Doesn't realize he's a dupe, that he's a patsy for chaos, essentially. Really amazing Legion and the Lunar Wolves and Sons of Horus. Decapitation strikes are my thing. I love legions that do that. That's why the Exiled Blades do that. That's what they do. Like, they go straight for the jugular. They bypass everything else. Really happy with that. I think in terms of just being a Primarch, his story is very nicely closed off, very nicely done. and it goes into the Black Legion too, which is essentially, yeah, I get it. You know, the Ultramarines of Chaos. Yeah, with you on that one. But this mercenary, almost, you know, need for Abaddon to say, no, I want my warriors to always have a place in this galaxy, so there will always be war. And he fucking won, because it is always war. They do always have a place in the galaxy, and it does kind of work. What do you guys think? I think this is going to be campaigning for either A or S tier. Where are you guys leaning with Horus? Because for me, if we're talking Lunar Wolves and Sons of Horus, and their downfall, and what they become, and how elegant that story is, nicely done, it'll be S tier for me. There's one bit with Erebus and Loken that just kind of ruined it for me towards the end of the end and the death. So, what do you guys reckon?
Well, there's just so much to do.
Oh,
like, that's the one
Are we
thing.
including the Black Legion
Yes.
with this?
Yes, because they are the continuation of.
No, that's why I said there's so much. Like, there's so much lore. There's so much. Like, all of like the Lunar Wolves, Black Legion. They are literally the backbone of the universe, because without the bad guy, you don't really have the universe. You know what I mean? Because everything extends from them. All the, you know, the Great Crusade, going from, like, what was the planet where they actually met the false emperor, which killed his favorite son?
6319, was it?
60, maybe, but that's what kind of kicks it off, because his favorite son dies, probably the one that might have been able to say to him, hang on a second, this is a bit too far. You know what I mean? Like, the whole idea that the most unremarkable person is the most important person, kind of story angle. But then the whole story of their fall, like their slow fall, because it's the classic thing is it's never in one big leap. It's always in tiny steps.
I got you. Yeah. What do you think, Bud?
So, here's the problem. There's a lot to love with Horus, Lunar Wolves, Sons of Horus, and Black Legion, but there's also a lot to hate, particularly when it comes to the Black Legion and Abaddon. And this is sort of the issue if you're trying to put them in S tier. Look, on the one hand, Horus did wound the Emperor, did basically change the setting. The Lunar Wolves, probably at the time, one of the best legions. He became War Master, could probably beat a lot of the other Primarchs in hand-to-hand combat. Very great general, very honorable. They, in the books before his fall, particularly Horus Rising, shows him in a very good light. But then the decisions, and it sort of falls to the writing, sometimes just boggles the mind. And then you have Ezekiel Abaddon with his Black Crusades just failing all the time, and it's sort of the cover-ups, GW just trying to smooth things over. And that's why I'm wondering if the Black Legion are going to be as prominent moving forward as they were before. I don't think they are. I think maybe Iron Warriors, or one of the other word bearers, might start taking over, depending probably on their popularity and how the models probably
You know what? You kind of convinced me to not go S tier, because I missed that out. The whitewashing, the covering up of that Games Workshop have done with the Black Legion. So if we're talking just Sons of Horus, S tier, right? But because we're bringing in Black Legion as well, and Abaddon story, because it has to be, we're doing 40k as well, it's got to be A tier, and actually the bottom of A tier for me. The amount of glazing that goes on, of them trying to make sure that this guy's relevant, or this faction's relevant. Yeah, I get that completely.
Well, this is the thing with, like, them not being able to get rid of some characters, because this is one thing I forgot to say about the Ultramarines. I wish Gilliman would have died during the Tyranid Assault.
Yeah,
not Gilliman,
Calgar.
Calgar. That's it, Calgar. Sorry, Calgar should not be alive. Why can't we have people die in 40k? Like, why can't we have people die and new people take over?
That would be interesting. Magnus is next. Who would like? I think the next three are going to be really difficult because like, there's nothing. There's like very little.
I'm going to try and leave my Space Marine 2 hate for fucking Thousand Suns out of this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You know, I fucking hate them. So annoying to fight. But like, again, Magnus brought down by hubris. That's what I kind of like about him. Brought down by his own hubris. Brought down by his own insistence that he knows all the answers. You know, and that he can control things. And also, he makes decisions that aren't stupid, like warning the Emperor through psychic means about Horus is fine. Get it? No problem. He's tainted by being in close proximity to the Space Wolves and their retarded story, and that's unfortunate. But I like the fact that he's shattered. I like the fact that he the different parts of himself out there. As a magic character, he's really cool. And his choice from the Emperor of, hey, forsake your sons, because I have another Space Marine chapter here for you that you're going to lead, called Grey Knights. They're going to be your guys, and you're going to be able to do that. He's very tempted, and he says, but I can't. If you let my men live, then I will do it. Yeah, fine. And the Emperor says no, right? That's a really tragic moment where Magnus says, okay, well, I'm with my men then. You know, I'm not going to do it. And so they go with plan B, and they get a shard of Magnus to end up becoming the first Grandmaster of the Supreme Grandmaster of the Grey Knights. So I think, weirdly, it starts off very weak. Like, his story in The Burning of Prospero starts off so weak. He's like, I did wrong, so I'm going to lay down all of the defenses to my world, let the Space Wolves kill us. Like, dude, you didn't do it. Shut up. Right? It makes no sense whatsoever. But later stories do attempt and almost redeem him. Almost. Not quite. I think this is our first D tier Legion and Primarch. I love the Thousand Suns in red. I love Araman. I love that it is literally a Legion whose theme is, we know best, and we're going to outsmart everybody else, and it never works out for them. I love that. That's why they're staying away from John Grammaticus, and it's really cool. But in the modern setting, it's all is dust, and that's all they are. Pretty much. All is dust, right, and that's it. So, for me, they are D tier, but I'm willing to hear other people's arguments on the Thousand Suns.
I try to like Magnus, but, like, you pretty much hit the nail with the hammer, because, like, for instance, with him communicating, like, he made the right decision trying to get the word out, but so he calls, the call is on, like, just rings out. Why didn't he just try and call someone else?
Yeah.
Why didn't he try and call someone on Moon or Mars or Malkador? You know what I mean? There's other options than just go brute force. Then, like, all right, if you thought you were in the right, why didn't you, like, actually try and talk to Lehman Russ? Like, you could have just been like, yo, Lehman, we don't have to do this. Chill. Like,
I can't believe you say that. Lehman Russ is an idiot. Of course he wouldn't talk.
Well, he's
to
only an
Lehman.
idiot. In that instance, he is kind of, he's being an idiot because he's duped, because he gets told by the Emperor, go bring Magnus to me. And then Horus, while he's already corrupted at this point, intercepts the call and goes, no, Emperor's just called me and told me to relay you a message. I want him dead. Because Magnus is also the one guy that tried to stop Horus. Like, he was the last person to talk to Horus before he decided to turn, when he was in the coma. So, like, you know, I try to like Magnus.
I have to push back on that. I have to. Because Lehman Russ, we have him in John Grammaticus because he's not just an idiot in one instance. He's an idiot all the time. He does nothing right.
He needs to stop drinking.
The saying Magnus did nothing wrong, Lehman Russ did nothing right. Lemon Russ did nothing right. That should be a catchphrase. I'm gonna come out on the side of the Thousand Suns because actually I'm a secret Thousand Suns supporter. I really like the Thousand Suns and the Horus Heresy and Great Crusade, and everything before. I remember reading all the legions as a kid, and I always felt sorry for the Thousand Sons. I think they should definitely not be in D tier. I'll push back against that hard because they have problems, very much like the Black Legion has problems, but they are at least interesting. Number one. Number two, Isaac Araman is one of the best 40k characters. Almost interesting. He is constantly just trying to change his fate, and that trying, you root for him all the time. His books are very, very, very good.
Yeah, because he's just trying to revive his brothers. Like, he just
yes,
wants,
he's
like,
trying to
that's all he wants.
correct his mistake. And the thing of Magnus doing dumb things, look, he's had his soul like shattered. It makes sense that he's sort of like not with it in the 41st millennium. I understand them, you know, being very memeified in the 41st millennium, but I mean, the Black Legion is way more memeified than Thousand Sons, in my opinion, and have way more flaws. So I don't think you can put the Black Legion like an A tier and having the Thousand Sons all the way down there. They definitely are way more interesting than the Ultramarines and definitely the Iron Hands. I don't think they are a D faction. I can accept them putting in C. I think they're actually B because I think they are always interesting to read about. Here's the thing. They're always interesting to read about. Even if you think, oh, that's a silly decision they did there, or it doesn't really make sense, I think most people, if you put a Thousand Sons book in front of them, they'll take it. Unlike a lot of other legions.
You convince me. I'll yeah. I think bunching them up to C tier is there. Maybe above Gilliman. There we go. Above Gilliman, below Ferrus Manus. That's where we'll whack them. All right, last three. Vulcan. Really terrible Horus Heresy books. Awful Horus Heresy books. I like the fact that they reintroduced him into the narrative in that he's on Terra and it's his ultimate decision as the most empathetic Primarch to either annihilate Terra with that sigil that he has. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Aside from that, War of the Beast, yeah, he returns and immediately is yeeted into the warp or wherever his soul goes when it dies. In that conflict. In terms of aesthetics, the Salamanders are a cool ass chapter. It's cool. I'm sorry, you know, the drake skin, the dragon skulls, the all of that shit. You know, the pitch black skin and red coal eyes. Sign me up. That's an awesome look, and the color scheme too. A really vibrant, you know, cool ass green with black. Excellent. Really like it. Flames everywhere. Good. They are a vibes chapter because they don't have almost any lore. They're going out there to get the artifacts of Vulcan to try and bring him back. But, you know, when you look at other chapters like your Crimson Fist, your Black Templars, your Soul Drinkers, your Grey Knights, your whatever, they've all got stories that they're getting involved in and that they're around at all the time. Salamanders will turn up in stories. They may even get like the focus on maybe one or two books, but they're not really setting books. They're more like an amalgamation of short stories. They're not covered enough for me to put them anywhere else but D tier for me. D tier for me is a place where we put factions that have potential that have been left on the cutting room floor. I would say Magnus was probably one of those. That's why I wanted him in D tier. I think Vulcan, Corax, and Alfarius are pretty much... Alfarius less so, and Corax less so, but definitely Vulcan. I think he's definitely in that tier. What do you guys think?
Honestly, the only thing... I've only really read one of his initial books where he has the story of, like, how, you know, he fought, was it Dark Eldar with like two hammers and shit on his fucking on his homeworld, and the book that he goes through the webway to meet the fucking, like, he gets to the Imperial Palace through the webway by the back door. That story,
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
I don't really know much about them apart from like I think my image of it is being skewed a lot by Emperor Texas Speed's device when that was going, and like Vulcan lives, like that meme hit hard.
He's being very happy all the time, wanting to hug people.
Yep, until like the orc side takes over. So like I said,
think-
I honestly don't really. This is one of the ones I'm not really fluent on.
I think the issue for me with Vulcan is that immortality, basically, him being a perpetual and just can't die. There are no stakes for me. That's just something that just irks me. And you can't really move up in my estimation of that because you just can't lose almost, but you also are just getting beaten up all the time. I agree with the aesthetic of the Salamanders. I really, really like it. I love how they love fire and everything like that. I also think their sigil is very cool. But my only issue is Vulcan and the Salamanders worse than Ferrus Manus and the Iron Hands? Because I think if Vulcan is in D, I think Ferrus Manus then should be in D.
I will say one thing though about like the perpetual thing. It did give us one of the coolest fucking entrants and revivals in the universe, where he comes flying to
It's McCrag.
was it McCrag? Yeah, comes flying into McCrag from orbit, just burns up into a crisp, dies. They put him on a fucking morgue's table, and then he wakes up and starts beating everything in sight because he just doesn't know what's going on.
Do you know what? I'm going to move Ferrus down in front of Vulcan. I think Boardmaker made a very good point there. So it's not a hatred D tier. It's more like C tier. You're cemented mid. You know what I mean? We've seen your lore. We deem it mid, right? D tier is
could improve.
D tier is we don't know who you are. Basically, it's not great. What we see isn't great, and there's far more to be done. Essentially, Adron Grammaticus is cringe meme territory. All right. So we're going with Corax next. Let's do Corax, in there, and Alfarius in there too. So these are our last two. So Corax, saved by the fact he's a really cool warp entity now. Just chasing down Lorgar. That's cool as shit. His chapter as well. We need a stealthy chapter. Absolutely. They do fill a space in the Legions and in the later chapters as well. A lot of really cool successive chapters, Carcharodons being one, the Raptors being another, are descended from the Raven Guard. And again, a shockingly little amount on Raven Guard. I know he tries to make new Primarch and new Space Marines during the Horus Heresy, which he's given permission to do by the Emperor. Fails because of Alfarius and a bunch of other people interfering in his plans. Don't really like the fact that he was so shook by that. It's like, dude, shit happens. You know, you make omelette, break eggs, sort of a thing. You're a Primarch, get over it. Not really sure about that one, but like, what do you guys think of Corvus Corax? This is another solid D tier Primarch for me. Not enough known. More should have been covered of the Raven Guard. Deliverance Lost is not enough. Like, is one decent book, okay book, in which nothing really happens of note. So, what do you guys think about Corvus Corax?
One of the few actual kind of good boys in the universe.
Yeah.
As an individual, because his home world, like he had like old people actually take care of him and treat him well, and he fought to free the actual people. And I can't remember which Primarch he had a beef against, because like it was Horus, wasn't it? Horus used him as like a fucking basically a meat shield. I thought it was more meat shield than scouts. Because then he basically said he would never work for Horus ever again, because he cared that much about the lives
it's
of
like
his own
Gate
troops.
32, whatever it was, wherever, something like that. Yeah.
And then you get to the point where, like, after the Istvan massacre, he asks the Emperor, he's one of the few people who's willing to go, okay, I need help. Shit's gone down. Dad, can you give me a hand here? His dad then tells him how to, make some new Marines. But unfortunately, that then leads to like the side story of that technology getting stolen by fucking creepy face. So like I like the Raven Guard, and also you get with the Black Shield group, you have the I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but there's a really good Raven Guard character that goes along with Shadrach Medusan.
Yes.
Shrine.
Is that his name?
No,
I think
not
so,
Shrine.
yeah.
No, that's not.
No.
Because it's just not. It's on the tip of
I'm
my tongue. I just
mixing-
can't remember the name off the top of my head.
Lycona Shuriken.
Might be it.
Was it Shuriken?
Yeah, I think it's Shuriken, yeah.
Because I'm sure he's the guy who takes the headshot on Fulgrim.
Probably.
I think he is, you know.
Shuriken's also the guy that kills, well, for the first kill, kills Lucius.
Isn't he also one of the only ones who actually doesn't have Lucius embody him?
No, yeah.
Because he did. It's like he did an act.
He felt sorry for him.
I'm killing my own. I don't want to kill my own, so I wasn't proud of doing it.
Okay.
So like,
I think the
like
Raven Guard are, yeah. I think the Raven Guard are the strongest of the legions at the Dropside Massacre. I think the Raven Guard are the strongest. They probably because they have a larger fan base than the others.
Maybe.
I've met a lot more Raven Guard players than I have Salamanders. Or
So what? Maybe like a low B tier then.
Iron Hands. No, I'd say they're C tier because even though they're interesting things, there's not that much still. There are way more interesting things in the other chapters to put them in B tier. There's way more interesting things.
That's what I like about the video so far is that I was thinking D tier, but because of the way you guys have spoken about the Raven Guard, now like okay, yeah, C tier, but bottom of C tier. Do you know what I mean? There are the other ones in C tier have a lot more flesh to their bones than the Raven Guard do, which is why they're at the bottom of it. All right, Alfarius. Again, covered quite a lot on Horus Heresy now, and he has. Unfortunately, Mike Brooks has a hold of this legion, so they're becoming more and more cringe as time goes on. The Imperium should fall because they're mean. Oh, fuck off. So, again, I am going to do it. I think we found another John Grammaticus legion. I like the way the Raven Guard look, but that doesn't save you from John Grammaticus region. This I am Alfarius, this is a lie bollocks is shameful and terrible. It's annoying as shit, and they don't seem to get that making your law impenetrable doesn't make it interesting. It's like how Zinch is like, oh, just as planned. No, it isn't, you fucking retard. You got it wrong. Just admit it. You know, that kind of a thing. The same thing with Alfarius. His books, starting with Legion, introduced John Grammaticus. So for that, Ultimate Sin, I want to put them in the John Grammaticus tier. Their actual Legion story could be really cool if it wasn't mired in, oh, what's the truth? What's a lie? What's the truth? Well, nobody really knows. Well, if nobody knows, I don't care. Literally, if you can't tell me a definitive answer, I don't care. Your law sucks. Okay? I don't need all the answers, but yeah, like 40k does, 40k's main strength is that it never tells you A and B and C, right? Like, this is what's going on. This is what's actually happening. It will hint A is a thing that definitely happens, but it will also hint at B and C. It won't tell you those things are going on, but it'll heavily hint that's what's going on, so you make your own, you make your own mind up. What Alfarius and the Alpha Legion do, they go way in that direction. They're like, yeah, well, nothing's true. Everything's a lie. Everything's a... Then I don't give a fuck. I don't care. The snazzy colour scheme and cool models did not save the Space Wolves, but can't save you. Sorry. Like, your lore sucks. It's mean territory. And being mean territory and introducing John Grammaticus to us means... For me, you're going in John Grammaticus into there. What do you guys think of the Alpha Legion?
I honestly didn't. I enjoyed Legion.
I enjoyed it as well.
It did start dropping off after that, and concept-wise, of a group of Space Marines that their whole purpose is more infiltration and spec ops, and Like, there's one story of a group of Alpha Legions literally just zero-G'ing through an asteroid field to get to a base. Like, that's kind of interesting, but the whole it's gone weirdly memeified, because like there's one story I remember, and I don't know exactly where it's from, but they spent like a fucking 100 years or something planting sleeper agents on a planet to indoctrinate the planet. So the loyal space marines recruiting on the planet would be recruiting sleeper agents. So the loyalist marines were creating chaos space marines for the Alpha Legion, to go click and turn them on at some point in time. And I'm like, what?
It's also like the Alpha Legion for me are at the end of a lot. That if there's a nonsensical plot line in the Horus Heresy that goes nowhere, they're involved. They're involved. Like there are so many parts of the End and the Death that are bad, just bad writing with characters that should have died ages ago, just walking around doing bits and bobs, and it's always them. They're always the ones pushing it, and they're always the Marines involved. I just don't like them. What do you reckon, Board? What do you reckon?
So there are a few things I need to say on this. I really want to like the Alpha Legion. When I first heard about their concept, I was like, oh, that sounds cool and interesting. But the problem is, it's all up in the air. There's nothing to grasp onto. Not only that, now that listening to you two talk, I've realized something. The Alpha Legion are basically a Jensen, our worst person, or that guy in the hobby.
Yeah.
It's his wet dream. Because it's like, oh, you lose. No, I'm not. I'm Alfarius. All exactly as I planned. It was secretly, when we lose, we actually win. It is that sort of energy. And what really, once again, it brings us to the center of what the Legion is. It is their Primarchs. I don't know much about Omegon, because I don't think you're not supposed to know, besides he's a twin and he disagrees with Alfarius sometimes. That's basically a shtick.
And they sometimes swap
Alfarius,
races.
and I've read one Alpha Legion book, and it's Praetorian of the Dawn, or the Praetorian of Dawn, yeah. And it is basically, I am so clever. Okay, show me how you're so clever. But it's no, I'm just so clever. I have all these things. But show me how you're so clever and how your plans are working. But I don't get any of that. And he is this sort of emotional guy and wants to prove how smart he is to everyone. But that's not who I think Alfarius should actually be. There's an anime character that I think would be a really good Alfarius, and what the character basically is he has zero emotion. Whereas Perturabo is cold, hard logic and numbers with emotion. Alfarius should be cold, hard logic, zero emotion whatsoever. It's just, he's a blank slate. He is literally basically like a robot. And when asked why did he betray the Emperor, it should be, I wanted to see if I could do it. It was the one thing I wasn't sure of.
I got that, yeah, I'm with you.
It should be very much something like that, of he is just thinking all the time. But that's not who we get. We get this guy who just says stuff. He's that guy that just talks a big game, but can never deliver. And when you say, oh, no, you lost, well, he's that kid on the playground that says, no, I got an invincible shield. I actually win.
I getcha. Like, so are we? How are we going with Alfarius? Where are we going to put him?
I can't see how you can't put him in Genre Grammaticus, or at the very least the bottom of D.
Well, that's 2 out of 3.
Name me a good thing about the Alpha Legion besides their color scheme and their look. Like,
Charlie?
Honestly, like, I just don't know. when it comes to Alpha. And I guess that's the point of the Alpha
That's the
Legions.
point.
You just don't know.
That's the point. So for that, they are in John Grammaticus, and that is it. We have ranked all of the, not one in S tier. Very interesting. If we could vote for one to be in S tier, two. We can elevate two from A to S. Who would those be? Mine would be Blood Angels and... No, mine would be Iron Warriors and Dark Angels, but I am up for being convinced. In fact, no, I think Perturabo and Sanguinius, yeah, those are the two I'd uplift.
I would say Perturabo and Sanguinius, because like, as much as he is a man-child, Perty slapping Fulgrim's face into a table with a clock that he's working on, like, that scene is stuck with me ever since I read it. I've loved that scene.
Do you know why I'm gonna put Sanguinius up there? Is heritage. Like, Blood Angels are 40k heritage. Do you know what I mean? I know Dark Angels are as well, but like the Blood Angels have all the other stuff, and I think their heritage kind of negates the vampire shit. You know, the vampire shit's just 40k writers being hacks, as they usually are. But the heritage of them is moving them up for me. What do you reckon, Board? Do you reckon that's fair?
I think that those three should actually all be an S tier.
L. Johnson as well.
Because through the whole discussion, it makes their like negative things seem very, very small compared to how big the negatives are of the other legions. So I think if you agree with me, those three should actually be S tier. And I think then everyone's happy because each of us have one of our guys up there. The other thing I would say is I don't know about Lorgar being A if Angron isn't, because
I was literally about to say
together.
that. I was literally about to swap Kurz and Angron, in my opinion. Because Kurz is cool, but like Angron's story's better. It just is. So I think I'm going to swap them around.
I'm just going to say with the S tier thing, Blood Angels and Dark Angels did used to share a codex in 2nd edition.
They did. Yeah, Angels of Death. Yeah, they did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, a lot of my shit I learned, even though I started late 3rd edition, I had people that had the 2nd edition codexes, and I used to sit off and read them.
Okay, well that's it. We are done. I think I'm happy with that. So go check out Outside Crusader.
Outcast
Crusader. Yeah, I don't know why I'm Outside a Crusader. Outcast Crusader. Go check out his channel. I'll put it in the link down below. And thanks for Board. We'll be seeing him, of course, on Cyberpunk as it comes back next week, I think it is. So yeah, we will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Cheers, everyone.